What's up, tankers? Let's get our teeth into the best scouts and raiders on tracks, or wheels. That's right, light tanks. To get the most from these nippy little vehicles, you'll need to practice and to brush up on view range and concealment. Not long ago, we did some videos about those, so check them out if you need to. The links are in the description. Lights are often quick and tricky to spot, and they can have high-caliber howitzers or even autocannons. Low-tier lights don't have rolls, and calling them scouts would be a stretch. They're versatile, and their characteristics can vary a lot, and so can their armor. You can fight in them like a medium or sometimes even a heavy tank. From about Tier 5 or 6 upward, that's no longer the case. At that point, you start getting some real niche specialists. They're raiders and scouts that spot for teammates. Lights also gain a shared trait. They can move without it affecting their concealment. Whether standing or moving, you still won't get spotted before the same distance. This vehicle class only has 2 roles: tracked versatile light tanks and wheeled ones. First, let's deal with the Old Faithful, and then later we'll get to the wheeled lights and how they differ from their tracked classmates. Light tank gameplay depends less on the role and more on your own play style. Think of it in terms of passive and active. Passive players settle in and capitalize on their concealment. Active ones monopolize the map with their movement. Any light tank can play both ways. You can set yours for either passive, active, or somewhere in between. So how do you prepare a scout for battle? First, a lick of paint. Any camo on a vehicle's hull boosts its permanent concealment bonus, which is vital for a light tank. The more, the better. Train crew perks that improve view range and concealment. Keep your radio operator on your radar. They have a few good perks that are very handy for light tanks. More perks than slots, in fact, so choose wisely. As for consumables, food ones will pad you out in all the right areas: view range, concealment, and firepower. Equipment can improve your scouting ability, making you harder to spot or boost your firepower. Mix and match to suit your playstyle. A good scout will want coated optics and commander's vision system mounted. For passive spotting or for mid-tier lights, consider binocular telescope. If you want a ninja on tracks, then mount low-noise exhaust system. If you also want to focus on shooting, consider something like a rammer or stabilizer. Improved ventilation gives you a little all-round boost. In place of turbocharger, you can equip the mobility improvement system respectively to bolster your ride that bit more. Make sure you research field modifications to build up 2 loadouts for different maps. For example, the first would have coated optics, commander's vision system, and low-noise exhaust. And the second would have ventilation, stabilizer, and gun rammer. That way you'll feel right at home, whether you're playing on Prokhorovka or Himmelsdorf. Phew! We've finally set up our dream light tank and are eager to head into battle. But what should you do in battle? How can you contribute? First, look at how many other lights are in your team and where they're headed. Scouts should spread out across different positions and even flanks. In the first minutes of battle, do some initial spotting for your team. Your teammates will really appreciate knowing how many opponents are on whichever flank. To spot enemy vehicles, you need to quickly get to a place that lets you see their approach route. To do that, you need to know the maps and remember the routes tanks take. It's safest to spot from bushes, but I came, I saw, I fled tactics can work too. That way, you'll likely get spotted. Just the time to remember how to rally drive. Then you can find a bush and spot from there. It's safer. If necessary, move from bush to bush, approaching or fleeing if there's danger. A moving light tank's non-reducing concealment comes in really handy for those short bursts. When you approach bushes, don't forget the proximity spotting circle. If you want to scout, you need to know about this. So how do we know where's the best to spot from? Look at where your teams and the enemy's light tanks are located and remember the positions. For example, on steps, it's usually best to take a central position. On Lakeville, you should be on the central line or near the town. On mines, the bushes, both on the hill and in the water, are best. On Prokhorovka, you want the line of bushes on the alley or the hill if your team has enough lights on the alley. On Outpost, head for the bushes in the middle of the lake. Those are just a few of the well-known bushes, but all these maps offer light tanks plenty of ways to play. Commit good positions to memory and get experimenting. Don't forget, a felled tree is as good as a bush. And you can fell them yourself with HE shells. Remember that the thorn in a light tank's side is another light tank. You can throw a spanner in the enemy's scouting works by spotting them and destroying them, and you can stop them doing the same to you. Remember where you've seen enemy light tanks and think about how to beat them. Pure scouting is only an option on open maps. In urban locations without bushes, you'll have to come to the aid of mediums, dodge the enemy, and cause damage. Lights with autoloaders or auto cannons are great at this. You can't go wrong with big damage in a short time. Although lights are very vulnerable, they can trade hits too, but carefully and with immaculate timing. If you're hiding in the bushes spotting, think before letting that gun rip. Firing drops your concealment to scary lows. Make sure you have a strong exit strategy. As promised, let's end with wheeled lights and how they differ from versatile tracked ones. Vehicles in the EBR branch have a poor view range that stops them from scouting passively at a distance. But they do have good concealment, high speed, and wheels galore. Even if one or several of them are damaged, you'll still be able to get about. That's why wheeled lights are active Scout Supremos. They draw fire and dance under a storm of shells, lighting the enemy up in the process. At the higher tiers, wheeled lights have two movement modes: rapid, with excellent top speed, and cruise. In cruise mode, the tank uses all its wheels to whirl like a dervish. These wheeled tanks pack penetrative HE shells that tear paper-thin enemies to shreds. Basically, wheeled tanks are very active, aggressive raiders. You'll need a very particular set of skills and practice to play in them, though. If you're less experienced, learn standard lights first. And that's it. Share this video with a friend who can't last a minute in battle. See you on the battlefield.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Phase 2 of the AMD Onslaught Legends series. It's been a while. It's been around about 2 weeks since we had our last stream. And since the last stream, quite a lot of things have happened as well. I mean, VE Day stream, for example. But now we are finally back together with yours truly, Daki.
Hi, Kian. I've missed you so much in these last 2 weeks. I've been warming up for when we get reunited. I actually missed the VE Day. I was hauling closets, so I couldn't watch it.
All right, you've recently moved, right? I hope you're getting comfy in the new apartment. Your cats are so cute, by the way.
Thanks. I want you to rub them, because I know you're allergic.
Indeed, very much so. It does literally make me cry. Anyway, we have a match on our hands, and we have a lot of content on our hands. So let's see if today is going to bring some upsets as well. What are your thoughts?
I'm not sure. I mean, Kian, the teams have had quite a lot of time now to prepare, right? For this Phase 2. So I'm really curious to see how everybody's going to come out of the gates. I mean, they've had a little bit of time to reset, warm down and then warm back up. And warming up is what we're going to do with the drops as well. So is going to be pretty good, Kian.
Yeah, indeed. You can see the token earnings here lined up. Today, there are going to be 5 OLS tokens up for grabs, which you obviously can spend in the in-game AMD OLS token store, and there I think there should be something for everyone, being premium tanks, 2D styles, 3D styles, days of premium, directives, consumables, expirable reserves. I think just about every account and its owner should find something to spend the tokens on.
There's something for everybody there, for sure. So yeah, back onto the point that I was thinking about, but I think that it's really going to be interesting to see how well everybody took those 2 weeks. Right? What did they do with those 2 weeks? Because 2 weeks is kind of a long time.
It is indeed a long time. I mean, we should also mention the balance changes. Basically, the support heavy tank ability has been nerfed a little bit. The sniper medium ability has been buffed a little bit. So a little bit of balance tweaks going on. But here you now see the points and the total there being the most important thing. Obviously, Lotus and Ping being knocked out after Phase 1. And then we have kind of a pretty clear so far situation with Darkside and Yogurt struggling a bit in Phase 1, and then things get spicy, because in between place 1 and 4 there is exactly 1 point difference.
And it might as well all be shared first, you know, like 1 point is nothing in this. So W to Cashback. 1 playday could completely change who's number 1, who's number 4. 2 playdays could even change everything between 1 and 5, Kihan, because, you know, Darkside is slightly further away from the pack, but they could easily overtake a team that has 2 bad matches. They, however, have a tough nut to crack today. It's going to be Cashback, the team that did not look so dominant, but is starting to warm up in the season by the look of things.
Yeah, absolutely. You can also see that there are essentially 3 matches only today. This is obviously because, well, 2 teams have been eliminated, and that also means we are going from best of 5s to best of 7s for every single one of those matches. And while that may not sound like a whole lot, it actually does feel like a whole lot more, especially when you try to go the distance. Also, the point earned for the matches is going to be upped. Instead of 3, there's now going to be 4 points up for grabs. In case of a tiebreaker, they will get split 3 and 1. Otherwise, the winning team takes it all. And talking about taking it all, there is a lot of money up for grabs for the teams. You can see the current prize pool is up to 55,000 and a bit euros. However, that one is still going to grow thanks to all of your contributions by buying the bundles. The prediction bundles have been discontinued, so if you were one of those people looking for the upgrade for the 2D style and the badge as well, that is now no longer possible, but you can still grab yourself some more bundles, especially the trio bundle that also has the camos from the previous 2 seasons. Yeah, as I talked about it, the base and the advanced bundles are still up for grabs, but the All S team bundles, not anymore there.
No. And how many prediction bundles did you get, Kihan? How much of a supporter are you?
I got exactly one, the Cashback bundle.
Okay.
I bought it before the season started, though, so, well... talking about prizes, by the way, the season winner's bonus prize is going to be an AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D. I'm being told that's basically the fastest gaming chip on the market currently. So, yeah, I guess great performance for great performance up for grabs there.
The only thing faster than that chip is Kihan rushing to the airport for another vacation.
That is entirely true.
So, Darkside here versus Cashback. They are always hovering around position 5 or 6, Kihan. Now for them has to be the moment where they can break free from this. Hopefully. I mean, 3 seasons in the same spot. At some point you want to move.
Yeah. I mean, today it's not going to be easy, though. It is going to be their Ukrainian buddies of Cashback, and you can see with the community prediction, quite brutal, 93% to 7%. Given the previous track record of Cashback in the season, I wouldn't say that's entirely warranted. Then again, maybe Cashback holding back a little bit, because we saw in Season 2 that, performing well in the regular season only gets you so far. Yeah,
they were dominant. Completely dominant throughout the regular season for Cashback. And then in the finals, they got rolled by W. So maybe for them, it is like... okay, that they're not dominant now, because it also means that when they come into the finals, they may not be considered favorites. It's very possible. And
which would be quite crazy.
Yeah, but less pressure though. If you're not considered favorite.
First of all, pick and bans though. Darkside removing Studzianki, Cashback eliminating Westfield. That leaves us with Ghost Town as map number 1. Interesting pick for Darkside, because Cashback, they used to have their name written all over that one. Then Cashback wants to play Sand River. It's going to be interesting to see if they have adapted their strats from Phase 1, where they mostly played without Light Tank, actually. Then Himmelsdorf and Murovanka being removed. Pilsen as a map number 3. Ensk then removed once again. This leaves us with Cliff as the possible tiebreaker.
Also, guys, keep in mind, the reason why Kihan said 3 maps that are being played is not because Kihan has lost the plot. He lost that a long time ago. It's actually because it's best of 7 now instead of best of 5.
Yeah. Best of 7, I mean, I said it already. Like, it doesn't feel like that much more compared to a best of 5, just number-wise. I mean, it's just 2 more, but it actually does feel like a lot more when you're playing it. Because, like, best of 5, you play 1 map, then maybe you're up 2-0, and then, well, you're on match point already. But here, you need 1.5 maps, which, well, not many teams are able to pull off 3 back-to-back victories just like that consistently. And obviously all of the teams remaining here, the level has just gone up because we have eliminated the bottom 2. So from here on out, every opponent you meet on average is going to be stronger than phase number 1. And well, community predictions, it seems like all of us have been on the copying the homework train, because all of us are saying it's going to be a 4-1.
I think it's fair. It's just like you give Darkside something, but not more than that. Just a little snack, appetizer, but that's where it ends for them, which is kind of what I'm, and you also considering is going to happen.
Yeah, I think, like, putting those 2 teams up against each other, Cashback is still the clear favorite, despite what happened in phase 1. But yeah, here we go. Phase number 1. It's going to be game number 1, and Darkside come on towards Ghost Town with what looks like Season 2 or Season 1 meta even. We have an EBR, double E4, double Bliskowitz, a Centurion, and a Mouse.
It's going to be facing off against a 60 DP, double BZ, a 277, a Ban, and a double Bliskowitz.
Not gonna lie, looking at the 2 setups, I'm missing the DPM on the Cashback side a little bit. Like, yeah, they do have the double Bliska and the Batchat, but 60 TP, BZs, 277s, all of those tanks don't really have that crazy DPM compared to the lineup of Darkside. I mean, double Bliska as well. The Centurion is going to inspire all of those single-shot tanks. Yeah, the EBR, maybe not the biggest one in the shooting department, but here we'll see first shot connecting coming out of one of the Bliskowitzers, and Brainbreaker and Twilight that wanted to take the inner courtyard to put cap pressure are reconsidering.
The good thing here for Cashback is that there was no light tank available for Darkseid outside of the EBR, of course, but that doesn't get a plane key, and so the initial information wasn't really there for them to counter this cap, and Trash Panda feels the hurt of this as well. No strikes being taken either means that there will have to be good old-fashioned regular resets at some point. It's only Brainbreaker capping right now, but Cashback has a lot of pressure on this Darkseid team, especially on these E4s, Anka, and the whole crossfire from the BZs behind. The Blitzcraft's covering Brainbreaker, and the point stays. They will have to decap at some point. If it's now or in a minute, the pressure remains the same.
Yeah, and now the thing that Cashback was missing, the DPM, it ends up not really mattering that much when you don't go into an all-out shootout. Now here, they can do exactly what they want, peek and trade, and Kutsonga's really starting to feel the hurt in that Centurion action. Ensk did get spotted, took 2 shots, removing him to about half HP, and in comes Squeezy and Barbarian looking for the first pickup of the game. They don't really care about the EBR, it's all about the Inspire medium. Barbarian with the ram, down towards 11 HP, Squeezy to pick it up, first blood for Cashback.
Darkseid trying to react now. They're going for Aka, but already Scout getting trampled as well. Little is not going to be the one to kill it. He will get one more shot, it looks like, in that Blitzcrank. I'll put Brainbreaker out of his misery together with Drives the combination, and Darkseid doing a good job here, clawing back some of that deficit, but keeping the guns alive as well. Trash Panda is not in a great position though, but maybe he'll get one more against Little before he goes down. He does, but falls in quick succession, and Cashback still with 6 guns available, keeping the HP lead, also rocking and rolling. And this first round here for Cashback showing good stuff, and Darkseid will already be down 1 round. Not the entrance they would have wanted into phase 2, but it's Cashback all the way.
Yeah, Dries now with the ability active is going to mitigate some of the incoming damage, but little is it going to matter in the end because Squeezy still has a lot of shots available in the Batchat, and down the E4 is going to go probably Shockerix next here in that mouse, as the EBR that now has all of the HP from Darkseid is completely out of the game. And to be honest, with the EBR gun, you're not really going to come back from that deficit. 5-1 in the player department. Cashback are probably going to try and cap it out here. They need to be a little bit careful maybe to not lose Little, but realistically, in Onslaught, 5 versus 1, Vladislav, you don't win these.
Would be a miracle if he wins this.
I mean, missing this shot probably isn't going to help the situation, but realistically it's not salvageable at this point. He's just trying to waste time towards a possible tiebreaker. He did spot out the 277. The shot did connect, I believe, on towards Barbarian, but now Squeezy is locked, loaded, and mostly locked in on towards that EBR. Cap also about to complete, and Cashback the favorites in the match. And before the season, the favorites to win it all very, very comfortably put themselves on towards Elite.
So it's a good round for them, and it also helped, like I said, the lineup from Darkseid. Yeah, they were also close to the cap, but I think they also really wanted to play over it by the looks of things. However, when they saw Cashback, they opted not to, and not having the RHM does lead you into the situation that we saw there. It's like, you see them right in front of you, and it's like you don't have anything on the 9-0 line to adjust. You'd never take that strike there either. So how do you reset?
Yeah, reset's the problem, and at the same time, I really like the reaction of the Cashback players upon seeing the Blitzkers. Like, you could see the BZs immediately wanted to go to cap, but by delaying, they actually saved themselves a lot of HP, I think, and they still got there in the end, right? They put the cap pressure, so the tanks of Darkseid had to come close, had to come into those corner fights, and you could really see that they just weren't in their comfort zone. I mean, also on the outside, essentially the EBR and the Centurion were holding against, I believe, a Batchat and a 277. That fight is never going Darkseid's way, so they were on a timer anyway. And yeah, Shockerix was able to put top damage, but in the end he was just left alive to farm with that mouse, while the rest of his team was annihilated. So overall, I think very good damage spread on the Cashback team as well.
Yeah, everybody getting a little bit involved there. I mean, for Darkseid, I think initial versus initial Cashback was just ahead. Similar philosophy, but the opening from Cashback didn't need a light, and the EBR just wasn't really useful in this kind of battle, to be honest. I mean, sure, he's middle of the pack in terms of damage, but in pure usefulness and how much he contributed to the battle itself, the EBR didn't do that much.
Yeah, he was probably also designed to counter medium presence just everywhere around the map, but that just wasn't the case for Cashback, right? They had the Batchat together with the 277 and then just full force into the city. So the EBR kind of gets soft countered a bit by the lineup that Cashback is bringing. So he didn't really have a fun time either. And here we see the phase 1 score. So something that happened like 2 to 3 weeks ago there. It was a very clear affair, actually. Cashback taking it 3-0. No doubts, no questions remaining there. Maybe Darkside will have a better time today. So far, not looking like it, though.
I mean, it's still early though, Kian. We've played 1 round so far. I don't even remember Cashback beating 3-0 Darkside. That must have been one of their more dominant matches in phase 1.
Yeah, probably. Not talking about the matches against Ping and Yogurt, so I guess both of those really, feared opponents for Cashback. Only Yogurt remaining here, because it was weird to see, right? Cashback had such a convincing performance, for example, against W, I believe, but then they really gave up points towards those teams at the bottom of the leaderboard.
No. I mean, yeah, the trend, by the way, you talked about it earlier already. I'm still amazed at how much Cashback has stepped away from playing lights. You know, where other teams have stepped more into playing lights, they've stepped away from it. It's a real interesting thing because they used to be more like Mafia, playing that style, more control-ish. Now they're going very aggressive and
I mean, they have Liberty. Like, he is so crazy on lights. Talking about light tanks on the Cashback lineup, by the way, it's going to be a T100 and an EBR, so not completely moving away, staying unpredictable, together with that E4, Leopard 1, Batchat, Mouse, and ISM. That looks like his Season 1 lineup from Cashback.
It's more like it, yeah. Darkside, on the other hand, kind of the same, though. RHM, EBR, Leo, Triple Bat, and a can opener key hand.
Well, I think it's pretty easy to predict where the can opener is going to go, towards the stairs on the outside. Triple Batchat, that is a very mobile and quite explosive setup as well. Like, Triple Batchat together, when you only have one, it kind of feels like an eternity to empty the clip and to really do the damage, but 3 of them do tend to blow stuff up quickly. First of all, though, let's see if one of the light tanks is going to blow up. Squeezy in that EBR is going to drive through, does see Hellmind and Shockerix, so both of them know that something is up in this row of bushes on the 8 and 9 line. No plane being used so far, though, by the RHM of Hellmind. Well, he used his plane already, so... Oh, now the Batchat of Dries is going to meet Squeezy here as the can opener of Shopkerix takes shot. How much damage is Squeezy going to take? Because realistically, Dries is probably dead. He's taking shots from the outside as well, and Squeezy gets out alive. Only 1 shot of damage. This is absolutely terrible for Darkside.
Hellmind now running away, spotted as well, gets tracked immediately by Brainbreaker peeking around. Another one coming in, an HE shell popping into the back of Hellmind. He will survive. But at what cost? He's down below half. Look at the HP of Darkside as well. 13,800 versus 20k from Cashback. Scout is now facing off against Little Trash Panda. Cannot help him because he's stuck behind the ship. Spotted out as well. And Scout now on reload. Little will give the full clip. The Leo coming in with a few shots though. And Squeezy is the biggest issue there. The Strike coming in as well. Trash Panda coming around the corner. Instantly tapped for 746. Another shot coming in. They will kill this Batchat, but at what cost? It's such a high price to pay. Liberty's shooting away as well. Where's the plane from Hellmind? It's so late. Now they spot out Liberty, but he will find Scout by the looks of things as well, or Squeezy will do it. Strike coming in as well. No, Liberty finds the kill. Drop to 993, but that's 3 down for Darkside, with only 1 loss for Cashback.
Yeah, the Strike again connecting by the Leopard 1, and Liberty is probably going to be able to stay alive as the can opener by Darkside just gets overrun at this point in time. Cashback firmly in the driver's seat of this game and this match as well. The map pick for Darkside here, Ghost Town, is not going to work out in their favor. If 3 Amaraks don't happen this round, then I don't think Darkside get out of the defeat in this round.
No, and they didn't even have a follow-up plane for the EBR of Squeezy. Man, he ran over Dries, went away, got de-spotted, and they didn't have a plane for him, which is like, how did they expect to win that, you know, if you're thinking about it? Squeezy just rolls the bat shot for free. Everybody's aiming. They pick up Ryzen. They don't even have. I think Helmet may have missed a shot, you know, on the EBR, which means he didn't get a replay. And that's already a disaster. And then the bat shots, trading it out, not great either. The only way that works there for Darkside is if they trade out in the beginning. You know, if they trade the bat for the EBR.
And that obviously didn't happen. Like, you can see, Squeezy is now taking the second shot of damage in the game, and good strike here, level 3 ability by Iset with 250 damage is going to confirm the kill on the RHM, leaving once again poor Vladislav as the only person alive. Squeezy even getting the ram, and Iset to finish it off, making it 2-0 for Cashback. Pretty quick games.
So far, so good for Cashback. Ghost Town turning into a Cashback Cinderella story. They get 2 rounds. The first, they played well for it. The second was kind of donated in a way, I would say. It's just kind of the way it is. As soon as they lose the trade initially on the EBR versus Bad, I think it's game over.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I mean, the EBR took 1 shot of damage, and for that, the entire bat shot of Dries died. You can see he didn't even do any shot of damage, probably fired 1 on towards the EBR and missed. But the thing is, I think at that point in time, the bat shots should have been reloaded. So in theory, like, even if the 1 bat shot dies, the other 2 should have shots available to punish the EBR, but that just completely did not happen. The Leopard 1 also on that flank also probably didn't connect on towards the EBR. The can opener, same thing for him. So I think here it was like kind of a shooting issue for the side of Darkside. Because to be honest, like, trading a bat shot for an EBR, it's not perfect, but it's still playable if both tanks die.
Actually, I mean, I would almost favor the team that picks up the EBR because, you know, you have 2 lights on both sides, so losing 1 would be pretty impactful.
Yeah. Now, however, that is Ghost Town done, and let's hope that Darkside is not haunted by whatever just happened on that map, because now we are moving to Cashback's pick, and that is Sand River. Now, we have seen, obviously, teams play Sand River in phase number 1, and there Cashback was relying on 7 fighting tanks and also pretty T-57 heavy on Sand River, which I don't necessarily agree with 100%. I think the results also kind of back that statement up. And now the T-57 even got nerfed, so maybe we'll have to see if Cashback is going to play differently. They definitely do have the assets to play light tanks, as we just saw with Liberty. Still, in my opinion, amongst the best, if not the best, light tank player in Onslaught. So maybe Cashback is going to switch it up, because what we've seen so far by them has been all but stellar.
Sure, but it was also 2 games where initially they're just behind, if you look at it, right? So in the game number 1, they were behind. They didn't see the cap early enough. They got surrounded. They had no openings. They were behind almost from the first second. Game number 2, after the bad shot dies against the EBR, they're also, again, behind. So we need to get them into a real game where they maybe can brawl or fight it out against Cashback and then see how it goes, instead of something like these 2 games that we saw that were basically decided very early on based on the tactic that both of the teams are using. If Sand River will give that, though, that's a completely different story.
I still feel like the meta on Sand River hasn't completely settled. There is definitely different ways to play the map. Kind of in a way like Ghost Town. You can play with lights, even with 2. And you can play without them. You can try to force the fast cap. Although with all the neutral points around the map being scattered more towards the north, I feel like if you don't manage to insta-cap or force people to come close and then you blast them, then you're kind of on the receiving end, on the losing end of the stick, because over time the airstrikes will also remove buildings in the cap, etc. So you lose the cover you have from the start. So yeah, I feel like those fast cap strategies, like on Ghost Town, they rely on surprise. But as the season goes on, I think more and more people will adapt and understand how to defend against it. So let's see what both teams come up with here, because I don't think we have explored entirely what may happen on Sand River yet.
Sure. It's also a very new map still, so there's always things that are still in development, and some things, there's definitely some things that teams are like, this works, we just don't want to use it.
Yeah, that is...
There's always something. Maybe Frugo has something cooked, you know?
I mean, Frugo so far, chef's delight. His cooking has been wonderful. Not if you ask Moth and Frugo's tactics on Murovanka, but that aside, it has been pretty cool to see. And I mean, it really came to fruition in the finals of Phase 2 as well, where, of Season 2 as well, where the T57 traps just like over and over, I think they just pulled the tooth of Cashback. It just annoyed them so much that at some point they kind of broke.
I still remember the strategy Cashback used very early on Sand River that was very beautiful to watch. If you remember, it was Mivis in the south, then playing the strike in mid, countering the north and playing the cap at the same time. That was beautiful. That was one of the first real clean executes we saw on Sand River altogether.
Yeah. And so far, I don't think we've seen that tactic fail. I mean, people can always be environmentally friendly and recycle, but as soon as you show a strategy, if you play the same thing again, you kind of have to assume that the opponents have cooked up something to counter that. So, yeah. On the other side, I mean, Dark Side, they're now behind 0-2. We have talked a lot about Cashback, but for Darkside, I mean, they're kind of in the spot where every match that they play is pretty important because they do need those points.
Yes. But then again, depends on how much they care about who they play, though, Keyhand. I mean, yeah, you want to stay within the top 4, but I think Cashback thinks that they're always going to make it. It's about who. Okay, interesting. Let's see if this stays, though. Cashback's lineup, it's going to be double BZ, an IS-7, double Mivi, an AX, and an E50M.
Well, E50Ms don't stop there. 4 of them for Darkside, together with a 140. I think that's the first time we see the tank being used. And double Foch B. 140, I mean... Inspire? Yeah, and pretty... Or is it the Inspire for everyone? I'm not even sure. Or is it the funny button?
What? The...
Ah, no, it's the Inspire for everyone, yeah.
So... You just, all you had to do was look at the icon and then compare it to the AX and you'd have seen...
Which is exactly what I did at the end.
But even then, the Jerry Can is the Inspire key. Had, come on, buddy. Hey, look, this looks very similar to the one I was just talking about, you know?
Yep. So once again, Cashback playing without a light tank for both teams. But Barbarian driving towards the cap does not commit upon seeing Vladislav in the Foch B that was ready to counter. Tanks crossing over towards the cap, but now turns out the no U card gets pulled and Vladislav does get countered, taking 1k to the face. Same for Dries and Little already running in the Mivi. I think that's a good decision considering there is a lot of firepower rolling his way. But now they are starting to pay the tax for crossing here. Finally, Barbarian gets found with Trash Panda and the Foch opening up is starting to pour shots in towards Brainbreaker, which is probably not the easier target. And now Barbarian, he should get blown up. The focus fire, but Darkside, less than beautiful.
Yeah, but they do find him though, but the cost is very, very high. Vladislav 261 will not start the heal. He gets put down. And it looked like Darkside wanted to push the tanks in the middle here. They were set up for it even, but only Barbarian went forward. And 1BZ is the tank you actually want to get pushed if you're Cashback. The tank without DPM, without any super strong ability as well. The meat of the lineup does exactly that. They have time to take the strike in the north and come back before Barbarian even gets pushed. And you can see the result of that is that this push from Darkside gets completely annihilated and stopped in its track, blown up. And the 140 in Onslaught Legends Series Season 3 will have to rock a 0% win ratio.
Absolutely, although I don't really think it's a fault of the 140 here. The Centurion AX would have had exactly the same fate. We can see Kano now getting chased down by Squeezy, so it's up close and personal in between the Inspire mediums, and for this once at least, the Cent AX is going to prove the superior one. Although, well, it was more like the tactic that Darkside has completely fell apart upon meeting the opponent.
Good stuff for Cashback, 3-0. I mean, quick and easy. This time around, again, I mean, they're not getting an opening if you're Darkside. They're just running into the wall. They wanted, I think they were countering some sort of a mid play here even with their setup, but Cashback didn't really go for it. They only sent Barbarian forward, right? Only Barbarian, that's one tank. And the BZ, let's be real, it's not worth a lot. It's the pushy tank. It's the one that's supposed to get pushed. But Darkside was a little slow on it.
Yeah, I think like after the Foch initially in the middle took some damage and the E50M as well, the steam that Darkside were trying to build sort of just didn't gain any traction, right? We see the E50M here less than 1000, Vladislav in the Foch only 3 shots fired, so the snowball effect that Darkside were looking for just completely hit a wall. And that wall was called Barbarian. They broke through that one, but after that, they just didn't have the force anymore to just keep going, right? Whereas for the tanks of Cashback, it was perfect. I mean, Little probably, not only did he have a good game, he probably had a fun game as well. Just, you know, sitting hull down in an MVY and just shooting at E50Ms in the open. Can't really imagine a lot of cooler situations.
No, I mean... You know, it's very simple for the Mivi there. You know, you're just sitting, shooting, having a good time, blasting away. You're watching Barbarian die. You're probably laughing at him in the process as well. Like, are you having fun, Barbarian? I'm having a great game right now.
Unlucky, Bratan.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. For Cashback, this is cruising. It shows that they've used those 2 weeks pretty well. Good initials here, coming in, mean business, and Darkside, yeah, well, oof.
Yeah, it's kind of rough, and I mean, in phase number 1, this scoreline above us right now, 0-3, it would have already been game. That would have been the day done for those two teams, but we are in phase 2, you can see it is best of 7, so this means that only now is Cashback on a match point. And still, all of our predictions with the 4-1 remain on the table, but after having seen those first 3 rounds, I am not so optimistic anymore if Darkside even has a round in them. Because, yeah, I mean, rounds number 1 and 2 were rough, but round number 3, it kind of topped it.
What can Darkside do? I talked about the fact that I would like them to find a brawl. They tried, but they couldn't find it. That's the thing. They could not find the brawl yet again. And Sand River is still a relatively wide open map, so it's hard to force that initial fight.
Yeah, especially when you don't really have the cap control. I feel like both teams kind of shared it in between each other. And then they, the Darkside, that is where the first ones to overpush, open themselves up towards the opponent's fire. At which point they are kind of deeply committed. But yeah. Committed into hull down MVY is never a good thing. Darkside, they now have Mount Everest to climb, and they're attempting to do it with a double BZ75, double MVY, a CS63, an UDAS as the Inspire Medium this time, and an STRV.
Cashback in return though, IS7, double MIVI, 277, BAT, CS63, and Liberty on the RHM.
Yeah, so I feel like Cashback, they have the more rotatory lineup, I guess. They have the more mobile lineup with the Batchat, CS, RHM. Those 3 tanks can really link up together and generate map control passively for your team. And even the 277 isn't the slowest of heavy tanks, so Barbarian could rotate around as well. I mean, opening-wise, we do see the cap getting taken by Darkside with double BZ, so that's kind of putting a timer on towards the team of Cashback. Aka also taking a shot, make that 2 in that MVY, so isn't really able to push back Vladislav, who has taken another airstrike. So resources getting taken away from Cashback here as they keep on bleeding.
They're taking the Nord now from Cashback's side. They do have to deal with the cap. They have a strike available. No plane from Liberty though, so it will have to be a blind plane. And this is a good opportunity here. Liberty will take the info just on time as well. They cannot prevent it, so he will spot. He will get a plane as well. They will find a reset with the Mivi all the way from downtown. That's Little. The strike as well coming in. That's a lot of pressure relieved. And now they're taking D1 away as well, but they're getting repushed there by Trash Panda, by Vladislav. But Trash Panda is not in a great position right now, Kian.
No, he indeed isn't, because Vladislav is going to be able to peek him, hold down Squeezy. The backup option for him has been reduced down towards less than 1 KHP, and I think Trash Panda can just book it in that MVY over the open field. He does take damage, but Twilight already down towards 1000 HP, takes another shot. Can they blow up the MVY is the question before Twilight falls. It doesn't seem like it. Another shot connecting, though. It is going to get close. Trash Panda bounces, and Twilight gets the kill.
Yeah, and Vladislav was actually shooting Squeezy, which means he will get to take another shot from that. He will find a strike with the CS, and in the mid repush is coming here from Darkside as well. Finally looking like a good game for them. Maka dying to the strike. Vladislav with another one. Now Barbarians the next one, and finally we see a little bit of that Darkside magic coming in. It took them a while, but when match point strikes for Cashback, they will hold it off for at least one more round as they find this base repush. It looked a little iffy, but they did make it happen.
It looked a little bit iffy, but Cashback, I think, getting too confident here, overcommitting in that western part of the map, in the spawn of Darkside, who are now up basically 2 times the HP of Cashback. Squeezy already spotted in the bat chat as well. Vladislav should have no issues finishing it off. He does drive over Squeezy, bouncing a shot as well, so insult coming into injury. He is going to keep clipping, but Vladislav reloading. He's going to shut it down, make it 3 players for Cashback.
Can Brainbreaker, Little, and Liberty do something? No, Kihan, they cannot. You know, I was entertaining the thought, but it's not happening. Good for Darkside. Good, they needed this. If even they lose the next one, at least they did something, you know, like, psychologically, it's a big difference between getting owned 4-0 or 4-1.
Yeah, indeed. It just means that you are not completely hopeless, which, after the first 3 rounds, well, they kind of looked like it, to be real with you. But yeah, Darkside managed to pick up this round. Obviously, they are still going to, well, kind of finish the job cleanly here. Liberty finally getting found. The HE in towards the RHM is a nice touch. It's going to mean that the RHM is going to be a 2-shot. Vladislav to pick it up. And Darkside, they at least put 1 round on the board.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? You know, it's not like this could be that they could still win another round, you know what I mean? But like, I'm just saying it's nice for them to pick up a round to start with, and maybe they'll pick up another one now. But something, you know, let's start off with 1, right? We are happy that they picked up 1. We hope they can pick up another. But this was a good round for them. However, if that's base repush is like 10 seconds later, I think they're in a lot of trouble. Like, if there's more guns aiming for this.
I think also if the bat chat doesn't take so much damage for what felt like free.
Yeah, that
like
was...
Maybe it was, a good plane coming out. I'm not entirely sure how he took...
I think it was...
No, actually, there wasn't a plane.
It was mainly the... so you know how there's the rock position that he was speaking? Right? I think he was getting blasted by the STRV and the Mivi from that, because they have an angle towards it, like on the little dunes on top, right? And
the STRV working out, by the way, 6.5K.
And it's Onslaught key, so you got to remember that the STRV has no problems shooting at that range, doing a lot of damage. So 1 shot from the STRV is already 500, a shot from the Mivi, that's already 900, you know?
And then he peeks again, because he assumes, well, they just shot, but it's an STRV. So he takes another 500 to the face.
Yeah, so...
That is like damage on a very important target. That is HP you're not getting back on your tanks that can rotate.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I think he lost the HP from what I saw, and they didn't have a spot on that either. But it keeps Darkside alive, at least into Pilsen, Kian.
It keeps Darkside alive, and our predictions as well. Pilsen is going to be our next map, and I think Pilsen might be one of the maps that is sort of affected most by the changes that we saw. We already saw a lot of sniper mediums, by the way, since their ability got buffed. I think the base damage of the level 1 strike got raised a bit, and it was made easier, or like the damage done with the strikes generates more experience now. But now Pilsen is one of those maps where we saw a lot of T-57s being used, which we haven't seen at all.
But we didn't really get the maps for it either, though, Kihan.
Yeah, so I think here will be the first true test of how much the nerf towards the support heavies is actually impactful. Because on Pilsen we saw T-57s, we also saw 50Bs.
From what I hear, though, Kihan, some people are saying it's not that impactful, the change. It's impactful, but also not too bad. You just have to pop it slightly earlier, you know, so you can get be aimed for the fight. Like, you have to predict it. But outside of that, they were saying it's still, you know, 57 is still very strong. So I don't think it will be, like, disappearing.
No, it's not gonna... Like, I think the nerfs were also not designed to make the T57 disappear. It's not like from hero to zero. It was just a touch added. I think that is sort of how you can phrase it. But yeah, Pilsen, another map where we have seen Cashback being kind of unpredictable. Like, they have done pretty fast executes in towards the cap, but they have also at times been playing control. So I think for Darkside, it's going to be difficult to kind of see into the crystal ball and see what's coming.
Do we believe in Darkside? I do, but it will be hard for them on Pilsen playing against this Cashback lineup, Gihand, of W100, i7, double mouse, a bat, and a push B.
And for Darkside, a bit more mobile. We see one mouse, a 1-2-1B, double Batchat, Bluska, Foshby, and E4. So Darkside definitely have the tanks with the penetration required to crack through those super heavies of Cashback, and they also have the speed to essentially run ring around the rosy, because that is 4 super heavies. Those are not going to be relocating fast from one flank to the other. So I guess the plan for Cashback is to drive into the cap and force the engagement?
I don't know about that, but they do have dries already with the strike. The thing is about this Cashback lineup, Kian, how do you properly engage it? I mean, yeah, you have all this HP, but how do you utilize it effectively?
I guess you have to kind of generate pressure. You have to make the opposing team come to you, because realistically, well, you're not going to be able to chase with double E100 double mouse. So you need to find a way to make the opponent come to you. Currently, they're not really finding that way, and it is even Darkside starting off the cap here with the mouse of their own, while Brainbreaker is going to take the artillery strike in the abandoned building. Twilight also taking yet another strike here on the rubble piles, and actually pretty good call by Cashback here, saying that, hey, they probably don't have anyone on the field, but now on the minimap in the south, you can see the big migration of tanks. Double Batchat, 1-2-1B, and Foshby all rotating over. If they catch the I7 off guard, it's not going to be a fun time for Twilight.
I mean, this big rotation from Darkside, I'm looking at it and I'm like, what does it really achieve, Gian? What are they getting out of this?
Currently not a lot. Is the 1-2-1B going to get spotted here by the mouse? I mean, it might be a possibility.
No.
The crazy thing is, like, see how far the mouse is? It definitely cuts off
every square is 100 meters, no?
Yeah, should be. So he's like 360 meters maybe, but he did make it unspotted.
He's not spotting a 1-2-1B on that range.
Yeah.
I mean, a 1-2-1B with full camo. I don't know what equipment the 1-2-1B is using, but the mouse is kind of blind. What would it have? Like 450, 455 meters view range with all the skills? Something like this?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, something in that range. So, you know, 1-2-1B is not super uncamoed either, but this has allowed Cashback to take a lot of strikes though, and Twilight's pushing back up is a bad timing for them. The info might be the best timing though. The push B of Barbarian going to go take this, and it's going to be real rough. Oh, they do reset him, but they get the info anyways. They don't reset him actually, but they get the info off of it. And if they would have gotten it anyways because of the peaks, and Twilight is booking it out of there, he realizes the danger that is coming. Trash Panda immediately taking one from Squeezy as well, so at best it's an even trade. Aka now getting repressured by Scout, which is trying to do a lot here, and you see Hellmine and Shockworks coming close as well. Scout angling well against Aka. Brainbreaker now taking one from the E4 as well. They gotta be careful here with these mouses. They understand that they want to cover Aka, who's now backing off to face Shockworks, who's still on reload, and he's in that pushed up forward position. But Cashback with all this meat. Aka now getting peeked by Hellmine as well. He's dead. That pushed up mouse, Kihan. It dies against these tanks. That was a lot of damage though. And Kano coming back across in the 1-1B. An overreaction perhaps, Kihan. They had this freebie on the mouse.
They normally had it, but Hellmind is going to heal so much back with his ability as Arca in the mouse does end up falling. Still though, Cashback with 4000 HP advantage, and they managed to equalize the guns. The 1-1B has fallen as well, and all of a sudden Darkseid is scrambling to get something together here as Vladislav with a good shot in towards the mouse, but that is the tank on which you want to take the damage. Shockryx in the E4, not so much, down towards a one-shot as well. Dries though has the opportunity to provide Crossfire still in that bat chat. That is the saving grace here for Darkseid currently.
Still 4,000 difference though, a tank down as well. They do have a surround on these heavy tanks in the middle, but Little in his E100 gives one to Trash Panda. Is now getting shot from behind. That's a good shot there from the mouse. From Darkseid, now Vladislav will need to kill this E100. Little will definitely give one more. He finds the kill. Good stuff there. The Force B of Hellmind seems to be pulling back again, healing some more. Dries misses that shot. How many does he have left? 3. He will not have the clip potential. He misses another, no? I think he missed one. And another one!
I think he just bounced 3 heat shells or something
he missed
on the
one,
gun.
Bounced 2.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, Twilight is now going to get picked up. Never mind. Make that Hellmind, who is going to be exploding as Dries may have just thrown the possibility of bringing this battle back. Cashback still fighting from a very advantageous position. Dries falling now, making it 2 people remaining for Darkseid in this most likely last round of the match here, as Vladislav takes another one. And yeah, Cashback with this very, very heavy lineup on Pilsen make it happen.
Yeah, they do find it, and it's actually very good for them that they had this super heavy lineup, because if you're looking at it, they don't have much left, and they had an extra like 3,000, 4,000 HP to start with, so I think that extra health, that extra meat did carry them across the finish line. Squeezy will find the kill, and it's going to be Cashback locking it in 4-1, locking in 4 of our predictions as well, Kihan. So, you know, we started it off strong together with Cashback.
Absolutely, and I think save for the, let's call it slip up here in the in round number 4, Cashback really showing us a dominant performance. And let's be real, in Onslaught, you can always lose a round to just about any team if your tactic gets countered. If they really get the snowball rolling, then comebacks are, well, not impossible, but very unlikely. And we do see Brainbreaker in the thick of it with his mouse. Really getting the best of it, at least this round. Squeezy also in that bat chat, a lot of damage dealt. Overall, the damage spread quite good, save for Aka, who was sent very much forward in that mouse. But to be honest, I think Cashback were able to capitalize elsewhere on the map as soon as the mouse started getting engaged.
Kano there, though, that is what I wanted to mention again. Kano, Kihan, he was coming from the field, drove across and took 2,000 damage. Felt a bit overzealous, not needed either to do that quick rotation, because they were already fine in the middle of the map at that point. And the 1-1B, that Inspire tank, pretty important for that lineup as well. So him dying, or yeah, he basically died for that cross because Twilight picked him up after. It's a very important factor in this match, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if he survives, if he stays alive on full HP, not only is that 2,000 HP more that your team has, let's assume he does 3,000 more damage in the game as well, because he baits both teams, but the opposing team a little bit harder, then all of a sudden he's at 4k and he continuously inspires. Like, if the 1-1B actually stays alive here, that gives Darkseid a realistic shot at winning the game and thus, you know, staying alive. But like this, it's going to be Cashback capitalizing on that, well, maybe even only small mistake, but, you know, you give them a hand
Small.
and they end up ripping out your whole arm. It's, yeah, just 4, I think, kind of easy points for Cashback, and that, for the time being, also concludes match number 1 of the day, but we're gonna have 2 more of those, so stay tuned. We'll see each other after the replays.
protocol. Open the portal immediately. I repeat, open the portal. Thanks. Do you copy?
Hello. I'm Miriam, and this is a Raumfalte. This device is like a magic hat that can store and retrieve anything. From priceless art masterpieces to entire tanks. Isn't science fascinating? You can even find another Raumfalte inside it. And in the second one can be a third. In the third, a fourth. And more, and more, and more. You can try these devices right now. Sign up to volunteer for Last Stand and defend reality itself.
We won't be able to fight back.
And earn up to 7 Raumfalte to test. Also, complete special missions to get another 3 devices. After all, somebody has to test them. Now, about how it all works. When you open Raumfalte, you have a chance to get a new sphere. Proto, Alpha, or Prime. When this happens, you will most often extract a rarer and more valuable device. Scientists are researching how Raumfalte works. The probability of getting a new sphere is about 20%. That means roughly 1 in 5 devices will yield a sphere, which, if you're lucky, will often be a rarer device. Alpha devices share the same odds, and if the technology remains stable, they'll most often contain a prime. But protospheres are not only about a chance of getting alpha and prime ones. There's also the protosphere's contents, which are useful resources. And Tier 8 and 9 scientific vehicles. Armed ones, of course. Blowing things up is part of science, but that's only the beginning. If your proto device triggers a chance for 1 more sphere, it will probably be the second type, Alpha, and that will open new facets of reality. In the Alpha device, you will find valuable resources, components for experimental equipment or free experience, and rare Tier 9 and 10 vehicles. With scientific tools like these, no one will stand in the way of your research. No one. You can also get 1 more sphere from Alpha Raumfalte. If this happens, it will probably be the third, the most advanced sphere type. The Prime device uncovers the unknown layers of subspace that contain guaranteed gold, resources, unique Tier 9, and Tier 10 vehicles. New Tier 10s! Even though the devices are unstable, our engineers managed to make getting a scientific vehicle guaranteed. The guaranteed vehicle from the 50th sphere works by familiar principles, but with a different number and a separate counter for each of the 3 Raumfalte types. So, if you get a vehicle from the protosphere, it won't reset the counters for the Alpha and Prime devices. This increases the chances of getting a vehicle, even if you're not so lucky. Each proto-Raumfalte means vehicles, resources, and a chance to get even more from the Alpha and Prime spheres. And you can get as many as 10 of these devices. 7 for resilience in Last Stand, and 3 for special missions in random battles. You can acquire even more Raumfalte if you assist with further research of the Babylon Project. Unfold space-time itself. Feel free to ignore the manual. It's completely safe. Good luck in your research.
Last Stand Operation Pandora is going to start in 2 days, but from Raumfahrten, from Folds in Space, we go back to Earth now we go back to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series 3. We have the second match of the day in front of us, and I think once again it's fair to say that we have a favorite, and they are called W, fighting it off against the underdogs of Yogurt.
W, a team that has been pretty consistent this season, unlike other seasons. They have really found their stride, even the season that they won, Season 2. They were not very consistent throughout whatsoever. So this time around, Kihan, they have really, really done well. Those roster changes that they've done, because they're a team that did a lot of roster changes over the seasons, finally found a solid roster that seems to work for them.
Not the worst pickup. Anaban's also a new player on the lineup of Yogurt, so they had a little bit of a change there, but still remaining with only 8 players. I think the only team to do that this season. And also, I think Yogurt is kind of overperforming. At least, matched up with expectations, where most people expected them to drop out of the OLS in phase number 1. But here we are. In phase number 2. They're still alive and kicking, and here we have the team that so far in phase number 1 has performed the best of all the teams. Your Season 2 winners, it is a W.
And they've also added a player.
Indeed.
Or replaced a player. Splady is out and Nepal is in. He was on LTP before, so they've added a French player. Very nice. I like to see it.
Yeah, well,
Vivi?
shout out to LTP. I mean, I still have their jersey here in the office, but the team kind of ended up falling apart now. Bit of a sad story, but Nepal playing here now. He was, I think, one of the standout players on the team of LTP. So not the worst addition for W, who also, once again, this is not a mistake. We did have the same probabilities for both of those matches, 93-7 in favor of W. And here, the man himself, the red line lover, we do see Jakifa with a 2.0 KD ratio, 3.3k DPG. Not too bad, pen rate of 90%, and he mostly plays French autoloaders. So maybe an inspiration from the team of LTP coming in. Batchat, Foshby, and AMX.
Well, as a professional bedliner, he's always afraid of the enemy, so he picks the tanks that are not only the fastest forward, also the fastest backwards, which happened to be the French tank, equipped with a white flag at any moment in time. It's a special consumable.
Mm-hmm. Now, however, though, map pick and bans between Yogurt and W, Sandriver and Himmelsdorf being removed respectively, so we are once again going to start on Ghost Town. Then, however, it's going to diverge Murovanka as our map number 2. And then, possibility for map number 3, it would be Ensk, so up close and personal. And then, if we still haven't found a winner yet, it would be happening on Pilsen, the tiebreaker, that is. That being said, though, do we expect this one to go to tiebreaker?
No.
I would say no.
I don't think so at all. I mean, tiebreaker, if I look back at our predictions, Kihan, I think we went something similar as for Cashback versus
I know I
Yogurt?
went with a 4-1.
Yeah, I think I went with a 4-1 either as well. It's the next match actually that has a little bit of different predictions in it. Here we're playing it pretty safe, but it's also fair. I mean, W is currently number 1, right?
Yes.
So,
I mean, now not anymore.
Now not anymore, but
points,
yeah, we'll work off the beginning of the play day, right?
Yeah. Still though, I think for W it's mostly, sorry for the pun, but doubling down on whatever they showed in phase number 1, where they looked like the most stable team, to be honest. They had a loss as well against Cashback, but against pretty much everyone else, they looked very stable. As predictions are kind of mirroring what happened last game. I think it is kind of the same storyline to start with here. Very well-performing team against a team that struggled but did make it to stage 2. So W vastly favored. I think there is not much more to say about our predictions, really.
4-1 across the board, respecting Joker's commitment to making it into phase 2, but also realizing that W is the team in form that has been cooking as well and should show that they want to be in one of those top 2 positions going into the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, the playoffs firmly in the sights of teams like Cashback and W. However, we did see last season that just because you had a good regular season and you locked yourself into place number 1 in the playoffs, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to perform well when push comes to shove. I think W, for them, Phase 2 should be mostly preparation for the playoffs already. Maybe testing out some strategies. But talking about strategies, this time it seems like not Frugo has been to the kitchen, but instead Yogurt as a team together have formed up and went with, holy crap, I mean, BZ 121 B430U, so far so good, but then 4 268s.
Okay. Against Triple T57, a bad, a K91, an EBR, and an Irish, and that's a lot of 268s. That's something. That's really something. On Ghost on as well. I feel like, yeah, you have to play the cap at that.
I mean, they're heading towards it, at which point we should quickly talk about the 268 ability. So basically, when you deal damage and you have the ability active, your cooldown kind of, or rather your reload gets lowered a little bit, but you don't really have that much armor, and there's double T57 heavy to capitalize, but now Frugo and Mentos might actually get pushed upon. There is not a lot to really save them from this fate here, as the 4 268s are just going to drive up and over, and obviously if one of those gets a kill shot, it will basically be reloaded immediately. It's going to be LeBay though in the 1-1B to pick it up, but one T57 immediately gets blasted.
Yeah, Frugo's dead. Mentos is making the great escape. He will make it further away, and now W trying to scramble, trying to run away, trying to reset the angles. Jakefa and the K91 is dead. He's one of the DPM tanks. Mentos does not get a second clip. Baby's on the run away, but it's 4 W tanks left, and they're actually getting trampled by Yogurt because they did not spot what was going city whatsoever. They spotted the 1-1B and a 4-U, but they saw none of the 268s, and Yogurt come out of the starting blocks, punching and swinging.
Absolutely. Completely getting wrecked by Yogurt to start completely snowballing out of control at this point in time. Baby taking another one.
The ball getting hurt.
Yeah. It is minus, I think.
Yeah, no, it's over. They actually go rolled, but good for Yogurt. Very good to see, man. 4 268s. Yeah.
I mean, that's just sometimes how it goes. If you pick double light and you end up fighting against a lineup of not a single light tank, and you don't even spot whatever's coming your way, then yeah, ruffle stomped, I think, is the correct word at this point in time.
No, it was good, but again we go back to the initial plane, right? Also, somehow Jakefa died. I wish I could figure out where it was. Maybe you can somehow figure it out, but I'm not sure.
I might be able to. I'm looking for him in.
I mean, it has to be somewhere 0 line IMO.
Somewhere 0 line.
I think somewhere 0 line. It's the only thing I could think of that he would be in the open there. Next
yeah. He died very close to the spotting tower.
To the spotting tower?
The
south
actually,
spotting tower?
He died directly beside the south spotting tower.
Interesting, because you know when you're like W and you're starting to fall back, you go into the territory where you have a few tanks that are supposed to turn it around. Kineni wanted one of those, and I think he was the second tank that died. So why he's near the spotting tower, I'm not sure. Doesn't really make sense. Let's put it that way. They were spotted long enough that he shouldn't be sitting near the spotting tower.
Absolutely.
I think it's one of those cases where you try to support your teammate running away, and then the 1-1B with the Inspire comes too close and you die. But it's a real issue because we see it here as well. Like in the battle results, 1 shot of damage.
Absolutely. I mean, did he... no, he didn't spot points of interest captured 1, so he did take the spotting tower even, but he didn't use it, I think, because he doesn't have... Or, he has some first spots, so he did get the info tower, but I think at that point, do you need the info tower? I would say no.
No, but I don't know. I think he was trying to support the 57 running away, right, which was Mentos, and then got caught too close to the fight. You know, like and the 1-1B or somebody with that was inspired because it gives a big boost to view range. Yeah, ended up spotting him at a position where he couldn't escape, and then just died out in the open. Would they be able to win the game if he's alive? It would be
questionable in my opinion, because
you have to see it as like a domino though. So Frugo is the first domino. That domino falls, you could still recover from it, maybe, because you have the lights to swarm around the map. Can you do one with mini strikes to reset, which is a big point. But once you lose the second domino, the rest falls as well.
Yeah, but I think the second domino was always destined to fall with the second T57. Like, I don't think who was it? I don't think Mentos gets out of that one ever, because he's kind of caught by the stairs when running away, and at that point the 268s just roll up and are like, yo, pew pew, and he's down. Phase 1 score, though, there it was a pretty quick and clear affair. There, W completely dominated, but we already know that this time around, Yogurt is not going to have a 0 at the end of the day.
No, they already picked up their first round, and there's a lot more here to gain as well for Yogurt. I mean, they have a whole match ahead of them, and they came in very strong, unique even, and yeah, it was very good. Very, very, very good for them.
I mean, for them, basically the perfect start. Like, this is one of those, I guess, throwaway strategies. You're not going to play it more than once, realistically. But it worked out beautifully, and especially against this lineup of double LT that W had, they might be second-guessing themselves now. Like, hey, Yogurt are willing to play full-on aggression with 7 combat tanks. This means maybe for the next round, whatever we might have had cooked up with double LT might not work again.
Yeah, but at the same time, Doki, you don't really... the same thing here, running the same thing twice for Yogurt is something that I think would be very, very hard to achieve. Wouldn't recommend it either, but it definitely may have shattered W's confidence at the start of this match a little bit. You know, they come in very happy, very excited, and you get ruffle stomped by Yogurt. A team that, you know, it's like a... if it was a horse race, like a 75-1 to win, you know?
Yeah. Like, realistically, Yogurt was supposed to be out at this point, but I think Lotus's underperformance just opened it up. And look, they're trying to do it again. Yogurt, a 1 BZ75, 1-1B, 430U, and then quadruple 268.
Well, W in return, though, a fighting lineup of their own, a BZ, an I7, a 1-1B, double Bliska, and double Foch B. The 268s really need a good engagement, Kihan, because that tank works off of hitting shots, right? If you don't hit shots, it's not worth it whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think W realized what went wrong this round, and they're like, all right, we're really going to do this. Okay, then we're doing it our way. Because double Bliska, double Foch B, those are tanks that can really put on the hurt, and they can really trade well, even against 268s that do get like a reload booster from... from essentially hitting their shots. Now, however, let's see, though, as both teams are committing towards the middle of the map. The Bliskas are going to be hold down, but the 268s don't really care about it that much with 395 pen, but that means they first of all need to fire. Rachmedic already down towards 541. Finally, retaliation comes through for Yogurt, but I think damage has already been done. Yogurt, they need to stick together. They need to get those kills, and Mentos, the first one on the chopping block.
Rachmedic in his 268 falls, and now Jakefa trying to shield Mentos, who's about dead as well. That's the reload there, the instant reload for Liquor in that 268, finds another shot as well, but Mindbreaker falling. That's the first Bees getting involved in the fray there for the side of W. They're running out of steam now, though. Itox and Klorf are both out. The Ram from Eos is a good one with that BZ. Finds the kill on towards one of those 268, and Itox now coming to shield even with his Foch B with ability activated. Actually only made it harder for his teammates to find the shot. Love8 then returning the Ram favor on towards, and now though you see the problem here for Itox with popping that ability. Ana could be shooting HE, but goes for the heat as well, and somehow Yogurt coming back in. This 268 is starting to turn into a little bit of a machine gun quick. Shoot led Anaban's kill him, and he does as well. And now Klorf taking a load of damage as well. And Frugo only just now getting involved. And Itox there, they're trying to shield with the Forsviki hand, popping the ability as well. What a mistake to make. He completely didn't do anything with that, and then had no ability to survive the onslaught of Yogurt that chased him down. Trying to be a team player, sometimes you just gotta be the Rose from Titanic and let Jack sink to the bottom, even if there's space on the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly?
Yogurt.
What do you mean exactly? Whoa, whoa, whoa. We were supposed to say no, I would save you.
No.
What do you mean no,
here,
no?
I completely agree. And for Yogurt, as you can see, it has worked out. I mean, Frugo is not going to win this 1v3. And Yogurt, opening a new page in the book of strats with a quadruple 268 2 times back-to-back with violence, speed, and momentum. Just completely roll over W, upsetting all of our predictions in one map, in one go. And I love to see it.
If we were Jack and Roski, and I'm going to be honest with you, there would not be space on the door, and the door would probably sink as well. You know, we would not survive that.
Yeah, but we would probably argue ourselves to death before the freezing came in. But yeah, we can see Anaban's also back-to-back top damage in that 268. Yeah. So the new addition for Yogurt really working out. Yeah. Perfect.
Together with the Inspire, it becomes a machine, yeah? The 268. You know, that Inspire giving the crew boost, extra reload already, then the DPM boost from the tank. But this battle was lost for Yogurt, in my opinion. It was lost. It was over. Not only, I mean, you gotta say it if you're on W. You won't want to bash too hard on one player, but 2 rounds here, like round 1, K91 key would have made a big difference. Would they win? Maybe not. But here, not only did Itox make it that Ios couldn't hit his shot because he bounced the shot and then died after, so that's already minus a shot from the BZ, he also popped his ability for that. So they didn't shoot him whatsoever. They killed Ios instead, and then they chased him down, where he could have used the ability, at the very least, to disengage towards Frugo, right? And then they play from that point. And when the Forge comes back in, with its 6 shells, he probably didn't even need to use the ability. With ability activated, there's no stopping it anymore, what W is doing. Because they can lead in with the IS-7. They just blow up one of the tanks and it's over. So that I'm always a big mistake there for them.
Now, however, though, it is going to be not Yogurt's map pick anymore. Instead, we are going to head towards the lush greens of Murovanka. And the keen-eyed in between the viewers, or rather the keen-minded, might remember a strategy that W did pull out against Hit and Run. Some, Moff included, would call it a rat strategy, but it hasn't lost yet, and that one is with double RHM, double EBR. Do you think we're going to see it again?
No. Maybe, actually. Maybe. It's actually kind of a cooking strategy. It's so annoying. When we start doing it in random onslaught as well, like more lights, it is annoying. You don't have enough planes for every light, you know? Mm-hmm.
Also, the coordination, like in between the lights, is going to be difficult, but imagine, like for the opposing team, it must be even worse because, well, you don't have one light to keep track anymore, like how many planes he has, etc. You have 2 all of a sudden, plus EBR is generating additional vision. So let's see what we are going to get from either team. I'm mostly looking forward towards the W lineups in this round, but I mean, Yogurt, they cooked as well on Ghost Town, so why not on Murovanka?
Maybe. Well, let's see what they bring. We're back.
Oh.
Yogurt, double. Let's see Yogurt's first. BZ, double bat, CS, AX, Hurricane, and our champ. Some switches, but the core stays the same.
And for W, yeah, you can probably hear the stirring in the pot going on. It's going to be T100, RHM, double EBR, double Leopard 1, and the Batchat. So essentially the same lineup that we saw against Hit on Muro. Just one RHM getting switched with a T100. Maybe they took my suggestion of it being able to take the outside strike easier because it's not as tall. We'll have to wait and see, but you want to check the cellar, man. The rats are in it again.
It could work. Let's see how viable the strategy is for Repeat and from the other side as well.
I mean, Klurf does go in towards the strike. Realistically, Quick, no, he used his plane, so he'll not be able to respot that T100. So full information available for the team of W. While, I mean, Yogurt are playing kind of blinded. They do have the info tower available on the EF1 position, which they're probably going to pop now. And Mindbreaker as well is kind of countering the strike in the middle. He is going to take that one to make it unavailable. And indeed, the T100, as I alluded to before, is going to try and take the artillery strike. But no cap pressure so far for the team of W, who now take the first damage, with Klurf probably getting striked in that artillery strike himself.
But they did take the T100 this time, which is just a better tank for taking the shot. We talked about it last time. Baby was in a IHM, and we're like, why don't they play with
What is Depressed and Mentos? What are they doing? They're pretty close to each other in the EBR and E50M respectively. And I think Yogurt, they are pulling the trigger right now. They realize that they will lose on damage in the long run.
Yeah, but the rat tactic, Gihan, is annoying. It's super, super annoying for them. They are making this work, and they are pulling back, and the Leo and the Bat are close enough to get pushed, but already everybody's covering. Mindbreaker takes 1.5 to the face. Itox takes 1k as well, but Mindbreaker has the worst of it. He takes 1.8, and Jos in the EBR is the linchpin right now for the side of W. He needs to actually back off from that area because he's going to get repushed, and he doesn't really have anything to cover him, and that would be bad for the side of W. Ramadik now as well taking 1.8. That's the crossfire from those little rat tanks coming in from every angle, and Jos does make it away as well. And you can see Yogurt desperately trying to find a push. W, this might be the mistake though, Kihan. They're continuously trying to run away, and at some point you gotta stand your ground and fight. Now they're gonna lose a lot for this.
They are taking a lot of damage. I don't think Baby is even going to make it out in the Leopard 1, down towards 602, still trying to fight, still trying to fire, but Itox taking an HE shell to the back of the Batchat. Now Baby is going to get overrun. There is no saving. How much damage do the team of Yogurt actually take for this? Lovey down towards 650, and we can see W, they're trying to keep running here. Are they going to be able to stand their ground as now Anabuns and Liquor come in? Still very healthy medium tanks. Lovey falls in the Centurion, but now the Ram comes in by the E50M, and you can see the LTs, they simply do not have the firepower for this.
And believe it or not, it's going to be Yogurt on match point after this round, and W seem shook, Gihan. I mentioned it there already briefly, but there is a moment in time where this lineup can no longer retreat. When you get pushed to the sea, at some point you're going to have to fight on the beaches instead of drowning yourself in the water. I feel like they drowned themselves at some point. This runaway through zero line with 5 tanks in the same direction, I mean, it's easy pickings at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you get pushed towards the sea and you don't have Moses in your team, then you are going to get drowned in a tsunami of enemies, which is exactly what Yogurt did, coming over them like an unstoppable tide. And indeed, it is going to be Yogurt 3 and W0. In phase 1, this would have once again been the end of it, but we are in phase 2, best of 7, so Yogurt from now on are going to be playing from the most comfortable position possible from a match point.
I mean, it's a beautiful spot to be if you're Yogurt. You're up 3-0, W's confidence is shook. Yeah, I don't know, it's amazing for them. I was worried because it didn't seem like they were finding the moment to actually push, but then the zero line pressure came in. Jos was forced to retreat, and W then decided to run. And I think there is the problem. They tried to run, and I don't think they were no positioned anymore for running. They had to somehow take a fight against something. Yeah, it's not great because they have 4 light tanks, but it's better than losing half your HP trying to run away to a position where you're going to get pushed anyways. Like, Yogurt is always going to chase at that point.
Yeah, indeed, and you could also see that, I mean, Baby, for example, didn't even make it out of there with the Leopard 1, like some of the tanks, and like some of the fighting tanks, because I think at that point in time, the Leopard 1 is actually one of the fighting tanks on the W lineup, just completely getting caught. And that is a third of the real firepower on the W lineup just removed, because well, the EBRs don't have DPM. The RHM kinda, but not really. The T100, no. And so you only have that double leopard together with the bat shots, with the bat shot, the singular one, that are really able to deal damage in a fight. And so losing one of those doesn't help the situation either. So yeah, W trying to repeat the thing that they did against Hit, but I think Yogurt looked at that and they were like, okay, those are the mistakes that Hit did. We are not going to repeat those. No, instead we are going to look for a solution towards the battle early, because over time, I think Yogurt once again loses. If this game goes 10 minutes, then W wins.
For sure, if W is allowed to just play the split, you know, like they did against Hit, then you will just end up losing slowly from angles, from shots, etc. And I mean, this could be a 4-0.
Would be kind of crazy, but yeah, we love seeing upsets, always. And W, I mean, yeah, phase 1, it was a very good phase for them. Phase 2 now, starting off, well, not very rough. It's the roughest start you could imagine so far.
4-0, okay?
4-0, I mean...
I don't think so.
Possible. Then again, I mean, if there is any team that goes down 0-3 and then wins in tiebreaker, it's W.
I was thinking that earlier as well, actually, Kian.
I think they did that 3 times last season, or some crazy stuff like that.
The one that against Hit 1 comes to my mind. I think it was 3-0, and then they won 4-3.
I think they also did it against Mafia, and yeah, and one more. It was crazy. It was like the last 3 play days. They did it every single day, I think.
Do you think they go back to the light tactic again?
I mean, after this, I don't.
Maybe it's just better from the other side.
No.
But
yeah, the answer is no. First of all, though, Yogurt sitting comfortably on match point. The underdog really with a strong performance so far. 1 BZ, a Centurion, a Hurricane, double 430U, a Foch B, and an RHM.
W in return, double BZ, a 121B, double 430U, a 268, and an EBR 105.
So not completely omitting the light tanks are both teams, but yeah, W with that 268, once again, it needs to kind of hit those shots, otherwise it's completely useless.
Let's see, quick, how many did he spot in the beginning? 3, 121B, double 430U is what he spotted. And now EOS is going down the middle. Spots are quick actually as well in the RHM. They do not get a reset, so full info will be given. They do see the BZs going on the outside. Anabans knows that there's trouble coming his way. He does take a lot of damage initially already. Good start here from W, finding that CS63 for a lot of shots of damage. And Anabans is trying to go forward, but there is no winning for him, only surrender.
No, absolutely. Anabans getting blasted back to the garage, and this means that W is actually playing a man up for the time being, as iOS has been able to take a lot of map control in the forest here. However, Nepal getting punished for driving closer towards Depressed. He should be able to stay kinda safe, but Itox now in big trouble in the BZ75 of his own. Depressed, not able to put the killing blow in, needs to wait for LaVey to do that, as Frugo and Rachmedik are now going to battle it out with LaVey and Klurf trying to provide support in their respective medium tanks. Frugo once again is going to pull around the corner, puts a big one into the BZ75. Retaliation seems to not be coming through, as Depressed goes to a one-shot as well. W so far in this match point for Yogurt, holding on and holding strong.
Yeah, but this could swing rather quickly. Frugo now kind of a no man's land. Mindbreaker is still 6 seconds away from getting its clip, though. Frugo went for the push there against this AX, and Fick now facing it out against IOS. Should normally win that in the 1v1. Ramadik doesn't find the kill against Klurf. I thought he was going to go for that. Mindbreaker is off of reload now, though, but Frugo finds the kill. Now Quick against IOS is going to be a win for the light player from Yogurt, but a bounce there from Liquor, yeah, on towards Klurf. Now the heal coming in as well. Frugo still alive, though. Doesn't hit Quick there, I think, with that shot, but iOS finds a shot, and he will try to keep this man spotted, and it should indeed be W. There was a moment there that it could have gone either way, and Quick there looks for it, but Baby is covering his homie, puts him down, and W will indeed push it one more round.
Exactly. It looked dicey for most of the shootout here. But, well, 7 is a bigger number than 6 at the end of the day. So W managed to hold on to the match. It's not going to be the clean sweep. It's not going to be the 4-0. But W is still in trouble.
Yeah, they need to do it 2 more times to get to a tiebreaker key. But it's something, at least. And, you know, they started off really well, killing that Hurricane, going middle. That was a good start for them. They needed that as well. It still got relatively close after, though.
Yeah, I think some of the communication, focus fire in the W team, not entirely on point here. But it was just about enough in this round number 4 of the match. And finally, W are going to have kind of a positive moment in this match. Let's be realistic. So far, there haven't been a terrible lot of those. But yeah, you can see Anaban's completely getting countered. Not really his fault in the CS63 in the Hurricane. I mean, sometimes you get sent there and then you just die. He also had to run in towards the opposing tanks to get away from the 430U. So yeah, and W stand as the smiling victors of this 4th round here, but it is still not an easy road for them from here on out because they don't have a safety net anymore. They need to win every single one from now on to take home points.
And even then, they're not taking home full points.
Yeah, Yogurt already managed to secure 1 for themselves here, simply by getting on towards match point. But ideally for them, they get 1 more round on the board before W gets another 2, because that would mean 4 points for them, and that is kind of huge. Because this means, with 4 points, they would be on 10 as well, same as Darkside, and just 1 match away, striking distance from the other teams that are on 14 and 15 points respectively, or, well, for Cashback, 19 points now. But they will, first of all, have to conquer Ensk. And Ensk is one of those maps where things can go haywire very quickly.
Oh, for sure. The brawls can be forced on Ensk. You can kind of not avoid it either.
Yeah. Ensk, one of those maps where if you want to play on player skill, you can, but you need to be sure not to get caught off guard. I think Ensk is kind of the map where one player mispositioning, just one house too far, can cost you the game in, like, well, a few split seconds or whatever time it takes for 4 T-57s to kill a tank full HP.
4 268s maybe key hand?
I don't think Ensk lends itself to 268s as well as maybe Ghost Town does. Just because there is so much stuff in the way, essentially, to block your shots. Like, not only the rails with all of those train wagons, where in the long run you're going to possibly get out-traded by Mouses, E100s, E4s, but also with, like, all those narrow turns that you have to do in the city. I think T-57s just work better in that scenario. But maybe they're going to prove me wrong. I mean,
268s
who would
are
have
really
expected today?
Yeah, 268s are really only let's say a field pushing tank, I think, no? I don't really see how they work in the small lanes of the city.
But maybe Yogurt is going to prove us wrong, or W for that matter. W certainly not a team shy of picking weird kind of lineups, although this one looks a bit more stable for W. Triple Mouse, Inspire Medium, and Triple E4.
Yogurt, double Mouse, a Bat, a Fush B, a 268, and double E4 on top of it. What lineup do you like more on paper?
So even though W's looks a bit easier to execute, I like that Yogurt have a bit more variety with, like, the Fosh B as well. They do actually have clip potential, whereas with the Batchat as well. Whereas W, they only have single shooters. And while those work well with the 1-to-1B, having a bit of burst never hurt anybody, except the opponent.
In the meantime, we can see the press here taking the strike away immediately. He'll be getting that one before Fugo is able to deny him from it. He'll be backing off as well. in safety. Does get spotted out. Takes one. Frugo there looking for the shot. Will not find it, but it's the press taken 900 on the runaway. Now W starting to pressure down those rails because they also see that the strike has been taken on the other side of the map, and that is down to Yogurt. Just spreading the forces a little bit and getting those double strikes. Good shot there from the 268 as well. Now, does W find a point that they can push to? It looks like they want to go for quick in the mouse.
Yeah, however, the mouse, obviously the tank with a lot of HP, kind of a sponge that is supposed to soak up, to take damage, while the rest of the team retaliates. And already we see Rachmedik with the backstab coming in towards Itox with the mouse of his own, down towards 1600, is gonna get chased down by the mirror tank on the opposing lineup. Crazy good strike here, hitting 3 tanks on the W lineup. And although Yogurt still have less HP and Depressed somehow falls in the bat chat, it looks like the better angles belong to Yogurt, but W with the better trades as it stands.
Yeah, W definitely trading a lot better. Mindbreaker in this push B really struggling to find something. He pushed there on that barrel position and is absolutely getting owned for it. And the press, yeah, he died on zero line. He was hiding there in the bushes and he was trying to play from that position, but then they took the info, they found the angles and they put him down. And now with all of this into consideration, it's a 5-on-7, and yeah, the HP is within playable distance. It's looking rather tough for Yogurt still. They have their gun down. They will lose another one pretty soon as Mindbreaker is getting pushed by Baby. Now they gotta make some play on towards Nepal, and you can see the amount of damage that Liquor is taking from that is not healthy. He even bounces the shot as Anabounce is forced to go towards Frugo to find the kill there. Mentos finds Quick. Anabounce struggling here to find the kill while his teammates are dying. Make it a 4-on-2, and I think W will extend their fate for at least one more round.
Absolutely. Lovey finally able to repair his Emmerich, but at this point in time it's probably not going to change anything. Anabans might find Baby here, is just about to be reloaded. Indeed blows up the 1-2 on B, but that leaves him in a 1 versus 3 scenario against 3 extremely healthy tanks. I mean, Mentos, he could probably tank 5 shots from that E4 if he also pops his ability. Yeah, first shot goes in towards the E4. Mentos doesn't even care, is still on 3000 HP exactly. Is on a victory march here right now. Anabans bouncing 1, bouncing 2, but Mentos puts the nail into the coffin of this round. And W manage to win the first Ensk. But they still need to win the second one to even make it to tiebreaker.
And then they still need to win the tiebreaker as well. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But this round a lot better. Yeah, they did a really good move there, which was, if you're thinking about it, they were pressuring down the rails, but there was this one player from W that took the info point. And that revealed the bad chat on zero line. And that made the bad chat on zero line do very little in this game, I think. Because he died. Because he was forced back. And they found the kill, and then they were playing on the 6-on-7, and it still got close. But on Ensk, in a brawl key, playing one gun down is always going to be hard.
Yeah, and I mean, the analysis that you did, entirely correct. We can see 1 shot of damage and 400 with the RT strike. That is not really the best of results for batchets that we have really seen pop off on Ensk as well. So, yeah, the a bit more diverse lineup of Yogurt losing out against the single shooter focused brutality that W brought to the table. But once again, this was just another step on the way. If W trip at any point in time, it's going to be over for them, at least for this game, or match rather.
Sure, but they're starting to get back in it, and they're probably thinking about how they lost the first 3 to then win these. Now one more will at least put them in tiebreaker. Maybe they weren't just awake entirely, Keyhand, when the match started, and they were like, oh, it's only Yogurt. And then Yogurt shows them that they are still a very capable team that made it to stage 2.
Absolutely. I think the warning shots that we saw from Yogurt, flew absolutely true. Maybe even in towards the heart of some W fans, but it seems like W, despite taking 3 hits to the face at the start, were able to at least mentally recover and are now fighting for, well, their first point in the match and possibly more.
Well, I somehow think we're going to tiebreaker, Keyhand.
It feels like it, doesn't it? I mean, after the first 3 rounds, it felt like a clean sweep, but now W have, I don't know, turned on the monitor, something like that, started playing, started showing up, and even now the difficult situations where in the Murovanka with the light tanks, like these clutch, these pressure situations, where Yogurt just seemed on top of W on Murovanka especially, now it feels like W kind of has the edge. They're able to force Yogurt into sort of this battle of player skill attrition, where I think just raw player skill-wise, it's fair to say that W maybe should be favored.
Let's see, though. Let's see. If Yogurt wins this 4-2, we're not even speaking about a W comeback anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, if this goes 4-2, then a week from now, no one's going to speak about like that it might have gone to tiebreak or some stupid stuff like that. Then everyone only remembers, oh, well, W lost against Yogurt without taking points. That needs to happen, first of all, though, and Yogurt are trying to take 4 points home with themselves, and they're doing so with a triple mouse, 1-4-30U, double Fosh B, and once again a 2-6-8.
So, in return, we find W with a more balanced lineup again, triple E4, double Fosh, 1-1B, and a mouse key hand. So, they have less of that meat, but more of those specialist tanks. The question is, can they utilize those properly?
Yeah, those E4s last battle really came in clutch, and keep in mind, not only does the E4 have great pen, 375 on the OPCR, that kind of negates a lot of the armor that those mouses have, it also has the damage reduction, so if Yogurt are not able to DPM through one of those E4s quickly, then trying to grind them down can really become annoying in those shootouts, because those 3000 HP that we see on the E4s, if you have the damage reduction coming in, that's more like 4.5k that you'd actually need to chew through.
Now, the split from Yogurt is the most interesting one. You have that double Fosh B there and a little bit of a trap. They are pressuring the camp, so I guess they're trying to force W to push the field, and if this will work is another story altogether. They are pushing up Nepal, who's taken some damage in the E4. He will get the strike, but will they be able to beat W into this position altogether? That's a big question, and right now Nepal seems to be in trouble. Here comes the mouses across the open. Ramdik and Mindbreaker taking the damage like they're supposed to, and now the Fosh Bs are moving in. Nepal's the first target in that E4 down towards 1.1. He's starting to get focused out. If they could lead it off by killing him, it would be huge, because Ramdik will survive for quite a while longer. The Fosh Bs now coming in as well, moving through on towards zero line. Potentially that 1-1B seems to be the next target. Anabans pops his ability. Frugo chasing Baby, realizing what's happening, wants to get out of there, but will he escape? It doesn't seem to be. One more shot will put him down. He does make it behind the corner, but the damage has been dealt already, and now Frugo in no man's land might just be the next one.
Indeed, Frugo is already in the healing part of his ability, but there is no saving him at this point in time. Just a blob of yellow tanks around him. This time around, Yogurt also with more HP to spend in the battle, as Quick doesn't care. He just keeps going against the tanks of W. Clerf is suddenly surrounded in between 4 tanks. Not a good timing with the rest of his team. Itox finally able to shut down Mindbreaker, and LeVay falling as well. W somehow are getting the kills back in their favor. Baby has been healed by one of the super heavies on his team, is not a one-shot anymore in his 1-1B, as well as Anabans finally reloaded in his Fosh B, starting to clip out on towards Clerf, who has one more shot remaining. Is he going to be able to do it? Yes, this removes Anabans, makes him a one-shot for Itox, who rolls around in the mouse. Kills get traded, but suddenly W with more tanks.
Rakefa now coming to face block this 268, who's gonna die to Itox as well. And in the meantime, they do find Baby, but that 268 there, YOLOing in, trying to find something, and now the press needs to get this E4. Can he get it before he gets squeezed? No, he misses, and he's gonna take a lot of damage for this. He is healing though, but can he find the kill? Needs to go around the wreck, and he will not make it either. Ios extending the life of W, who will take it all the way to the tiebreaker today.
Oh man, I think Yogurt was so close to pushing W off the edge here, but Baby surviving, Ios surviving. It was not to be, so instead, it's going to be 3-3 and W after an absolutely atrocious start make a comeback and force the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and this...
W in phase 2, it's just like, yeah, going down 0-3 and then start playing. What the hell?
It's, how to say it, I don't think this Yogurt had this round, actually. Some problems happened there. Baby surviving, sad. And then I think they did a little bit of a classic for some teams, which is overcommitting to get some kills, or trying to get some kill instead of just killing him, somebody else. You know, there's like this line between when it's worth to push for a kill and when you're supposed to just let him die. And the 268 really didn't do enough in this game. He must have had shots.
Yeah, but once again, it turns out when you start missing those shots in the 268, the tank becomes kind of useless because the ability doesn't get going, right? And that is exactly what happened here. Imagine Liquor, like if he hits those 3 that he, or if he pens those 3 that he hit, all of a sudden he has more DPM, so he does more shots. And obviously has more damage because he did more penetrations to begin with. Because at the end of the day, this was extremely close. But yeah, Baby surviving. And, well, he doesn't have the most of damage, but he was able to inspire his team. And this means the reloads on those single shooters just ever so slightly better than on the opposing team. And, I mean, a bit of gun handling doesn't hurt either.
No. Now, the tiebreaker is going to be, indeed, Pilsen, where we're going to see Yogurt against W. And what are we expecting from this again? Who gets to pick the side, by the way? That's a good question.
The Yogurt actually had the fastest win. And they picked side 2, which is south.
So south. Okay, interesting. I think W is just going to win it now, Key. I felt like it was going to be a tiebreaker, but now I just feel like they're going to win it altogether.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely like on the hype train right now. And for Yogurt, once again, it's kind of one of those stories where the last point you need to get turns out to be the hardest point. And for W, winning 3 back-to-back rounds where you're always under pressure, because if you lose, then it's over. That must feel good. And for them, they secured 1 point. There is 2 more to play for either team. But yeah, it definitely feels like W at the moment is the team to bet for.
Yeah. After this 3 rounds, I mean, the momentum is back with them. But even if they win it, okay, they've still given up a point, right? Nonetheless.
This means that after today, I mean, Cashback is already confirmed to be first. Because W at most is going to achieve 1 point less than them. So they have given up the lead they had for the longest time in phase 1 already. And I mean, also concerning, right? Whereas in phase 1, it was kind of Cashback giving up points towards the teams on the lower end of the leaderboard. If W also starts going with that trend, then form curve-wise, if we want to kind of say it that way, then it definitely looks better for Cashback heading in towards the playoffs. And we haven't even talked about the last 2 teams yet, which are still waiting for the last match of the day, which are Mafia and Hit, which are also never to be counted out.
So we're going with W at the end, right?
Yeah, I think so. They won the last 3 rounds in this match, so they must be feeling it a bit more than Yogurt at this point in time. Then again, I mean, for 2 points, I think teams might be willing to use one of those strategies that they might have wanted to save for later. So let's see what exactly both teams have cooked up for Pilsen.
It's a good question. Especially on the lighting department.
Yeah, because I think like if you have the possibility to gain 2 points on the leaderboard with just 1 round, then even if you normally as W wanted to save a strat for like the playoffs, then you might consider using it here just to, you know, ensure you definitely get into the playoffs, especially against a team like Yogurt, where normally you probably counted with 4 points.
That Ensk, this last Ensk we just saw was really the opportunity for Yogurt to take the points here. And it would have been very important points as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, mainly for them, let's be realistic, Ian. I don't think they're aiming at playoffs, right? But that position 5 became a lot more...
It also gets money.
Yeah, but it became a lot more like valuable compared to last season, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get money, and you also don't have to play a relegation.
Exactly. So in last season, 5th place was also in relegation. So it's become it became a lot more valuable. So that's what they're fighting for, and that's the points on the line here on this Pilsen tiebreaker for Yogurt as well. The mouse, an AX, double for TDU, double for HB, and an RHM to pick up some precious points.
I have to stop you right there though, because a reset was called during the countdown. That means, yeah, players are probably going to switch away from the tanks that they wanted to use. And this means we're going to have a little bit of a small delay until we actually do start the tiebreaker. Reset was called by the side of W. Not sure if they have any kind of technical problems or someone maybe, you know, had their internet drop. Me being from Germany, I have a lot of experience with that. So... yeah, let's see. It shouldn't be long, though, and it gives us a little bit more time to talk about Pilsen, because we already saw it today, and there we saw a big rotation, migration of Batchats, but like the timing was off in between Cashback and Darkside, and it was very off for Darkside.
It was, indeed, but they also had opportunities to win it, though. That battle on Pilsen, we talked about it then. I think they overreacted to the pressure from Cashback, and they had real opportunities to come back in that one. But that Pilsen was also very different, because that was a Pilsen in regular time compared to like a tiebreaker Pilsen. I think it plays in a little bit different nonetheless. But I mean, things that I'm really worried about here, or like curious to see, is like we've completely stopped seeing cat strategies altogether, and it's more of this like heavy super heavy meta, less so light tanks.
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen that shift, whereas I think season 1 and even season 2, one light tank was kind of a given.
There's many EBRs if we see it.
Yeah, and now on Pilsen we have switched to EBR or nothing, frankly, where we see that the rotationary tanks are mostly like Batchat. CS doesn't really get picked on Pilsen because, well, compared to a Batchat, the firepower is kind of limited, and the additional mobility you get in speed mode isn't really worth it. So it's either like full-on mobility EBR, or then you take a combat tank with a Batchat that can matter in a fight against heavy tanks, where, well, it still takes some time to pump out the complete clip of the Batchat, but then again, you do like almost 2,000 damage with that clip, so it's kind of worth it. And then the reload, obviously, comes in clutch for the Batchat as well. No, I was talking so much about the Batchat, but there isn't even one pick at this point in time.
You're had a 140,
trying...
yeah, right? That already made you very happy, no?
Absolutely. It made my day brighter. But yeah, for Yogurt, they want to win this tiebreaker, and they are bringing an RHM, double for speed, double for 30U, Centurion AX, and a mouse.
W in return, double E100, A277, a 121B, a Hurricane, and double Fush B. You can see the movement here from Yogurt is pretty deliberate. They're trying to dodge a light tank. They don't know that there is none.
They will know now, because a lot of them got spotted, and Quick hitting enough with his plane to ensure that he has a second one available to, for example, control the spotting tower, but this is obviously not what W have in mind. Instead, they're sending the Hurricane of IOS towards the crossfire position on the inside of the destroyed factory, together with Baby and Frugo, the 121B and the 277, in towards the cap. So this is going to force the hand of Yogurt, but they seem prepared to deal with it. Mindbreaker already taking the crossfire position in, what is that, F6? So yeah, Frugo taking a lot of damage now. This is going to take the pressure off of Yogurt for the time being, as they're able to continuously reset with the TD, I think, of the Foshby in K1. Nice angle in towards the cap. This is completely countering what W is doing for the time being.
But if we're seeing Yogurt's position, it's not that bad either, because they're working their way around the A-line, right? With the RHM already, they'll start finding some angles on Mentos in that E100, slowly but surely. And they do have K1, K2, Kian, which is a very strong position also against the cap.
Yep, we can also see that the angles are starting to work against Nepal. Some blind shots now coming in towards Quick. So I guess the RHM has fired, and he does do another shot of damage against Klurf, who has to dip into the water now with his Force-B. Cannot continue chasing because he doesn't know how much crossfire there would be. And Daki, to be honest, so far, so good for Yogurt.
Yeah, no, they're really in the prime position right now, if you're thinking about it. Like, looking at the battle, the HP is even, but the positions are slowly just going to worry for them. And you see this RHM of Quick is finding shots against Mentos as well, who's in that E100 and will slowly get chipped away. There is a strike for both teams, but I would still prefer to be in Yogurt's position.
The same here for myself, as we see Quick once again. I mean, he has complete free play in that RHM. He knows that there is no light tank on the enemy team. So he can essentially do what he wants as long as he doesn't get caught. And, well, him seeing Mentos this far out, he's now going to make yet another advance. And Baby taking the strike on the one line, I mean, that is one more tool in the hands of W, but they might end up looking like tools here if they're not able to break out of this kind of very, very good contain that Yogurt have put. They need to find something to push upon, but I don't really see Yogurt giving them anything. The only thing that W is doing well right now is, despite their kind of bad angles, etc., they are doing... They're trading okay.
Sure, but that will not save you in the long run, normally. Like, at some point, the positions that Yogurt has should start playing for them. And you see Quick is getting further and further behind them, and he's really annoying. He's pressuring W forward into this triangle of the press, Anabans and Liquor, those three tanks.
10 seconds.
Yeah, no, but there's a strike. You know, the strike comes in, gets two. Mentos now getting clipped by Liquor from the back as well. Even is going to be careful now. W starting to push up with those triple tanks. Liquor driving down, but Anabans holding the cross. Klurf pops his ability, but you know every shot you take, Ihan, you don't heal it back 100%. And now the 4 to the U peeking over. Liquor holding the angle. Baby and Klurf, the dynamic duo, getting striked as well. The press just making a peek, focusing out the 1-to-1B. Sure, they retaliate with a strike of their own, but is that enough? As Liquor and Anabans now starting to peek the top, trying to get the damage out. They need to be careful. Baby and Klurf, they're not dead just yet. They're in position. The RHM sneaking behind, and W has done a remarkable job this game about trading equally.
Yeah, so far they've been able to trade equally, but now Klurf down towards a one-shot. Same for Baby. A strike is going to go on towards the press. That makes him a two-shot as well, but you can see Klurf not really able to heal back a whole lot of damage, as Rachmedik in the mouse is going to be the first one to drop. In the meantime, though, LeBay and Mindbreaker looking for the pickup on towards Frugo, who does take a truck ton of damage, and Mindbreaker with that DPM should be able to secure the kill. Quick double kill actually coming through for Yogurt, as LeBay gets retaliated upon, but Klurf falling too. This is 5 tanks for Yogurt against the 3 remaining ones of W.
And now it's all on Yogurt to convert these crucial points for them on the hunt for position number 5 key hand, because Darkside lost today against Cashback, so they're going to be coming rather close to them, I think, after this match, because it does look like they are locking it down this time around, not really having too much worry, hopefully, for them. Liquor finds Mentos, and in return they lose Mindbreaker, but now the press coming in as well needs to be careful. Nepal is a healthy 100, 548 is within the realms of possibility, to be honest. He doesn't get it though, 540, which means that this 430U should close out the kill here. Nepal tries to anger the press. Can he get it? Can he get it? Or is it going to be Nepal? It's going to be the press, after all, who finds the kill. Leaves just Itox and Yogurt. They extend the content a little bit, but when push comes to shove, they still find very important points.
Yeah, W, the team of tiebreakers this time around. It's not going to be their lucky charm, as Quick, the one to pick up the last kill here, has played a very good game of World of Tanks, of Onslaught in that RHM, essentially given free reign and forcing W's hand with that push that, yeah, stopped before it really got going. They never got to kill that 430U that was there in the corner, hold down, just peeking whenever it wanted. So Yogurt do complete the upset. They have to go the extra mile, full content extension with the 4-3 in tiebreaker. But yeah, W, for them, Phase 1, looking really good. Phase 2, after one match, not so much.
No, but still, they did a big comeback, though, Kiki. You know, coming back to tiebreaker, honestly, I almost feel like Yogurt deserves 4 points. You know, they should have won this Ensk, but it's okay. These are really, really important points for them.
Yeah, and I mean, in between Yogurt and Darkside, like, Yogurt just got unexpected points, putting themselves within striking distance, I think on 9 points. That is just one less than Darkside. This means that if they win their match against Darkside, it doesn't matter if regular time or tiebreaker, then they would be in front of them, meaning money and a secured spot for next season. So for them, nothing is over yet. And, I mean, from there on out, right, Phase 2 has 4 points available in each match, so why stop there? If you can beat W, you probably can beat anyone.
Yeah, for sure. But beat anyone. But it also shows that anybody can beat anybody on any given day, Kihan, which is a different thing. Let's do the simulation. Maybe 10 times over. 9 times W might win this match, but in this one they don't. And for Yogurt, they take the 3 points. They would have liked 4. I'm trying to remember how many they were on before today, exactly. But
I think Yogurt was on 6, if memory serves correctly.
Yes,
so now they're on 9 and Darkside is on 10 still.
I mean, look, Place 5 is super important. There's different battles going on. Yeah? Place 5 battle and playoffs battle. Those are the two kind of things you're looking at.
Yep. And, I mean, Yogurt with a very good victory for themselves, but I think after those 7 rounds, we have earned ourselves a small breather. So after the replays, we'll be back with probably the banger match of the day, although this one has already delivered. We'll be back with Mafia against Hit. Stay tuned.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
And thank you very much to AMD for sponsoring the Season 3 of the Onslaught Legends series. Together, we advance gaming, and together we will now watch what, well, I thought at the beginning of the day was going to be the coolest match. It's going to be Hit against Mafia, a Polish derby with probably no clear-cut favorite.
No, and it's also the one where we have some split, actually no split predictions. I think you all went for Hit and Run. Actually, on the train of thought. Yeah, this hit and run lineup, Kihand, China champions 2 times over. But
I think 2 of them, really? Like Monster and Piotr won 2 times. The rest kind of has switched around, right?
You know what, Kihand? Fine. China champions. Some of them 2 times China champions, but recent WCI winners. But what they do not have is a Onslaught Legends series victory.
Nope. The first 2 have gone to Cashback and W, respectively, so still hungry to put the Golden Crown, the winner's badge for the OLS, on their heads. Both of those teams, both Hit and Mafia. And yeah, Mafia, they haven't looked too bad either, right? Before the playday started, Hit and Mafia were both on 14 points, so kind of an equal footing. And this is also reflected by the community predictions. 60-40 for Hit, which I think, given the track record in between both of those teams, is fair.
Yeah, but then again, you guys all went with Hit, though. So guide me through it, Kihan. Why are you so convinced that Hit and Run is going to take this?
I'm not convinced at all, to be honest. I think Mafia are perfectly capable of winning this match. It's just about me wanting to get my prediction right, and they're, like, in the past as well, when push came to shove, it was just Hit kind of taking it more often than not. But as I said, I thoroughly think that Mafia are more than capable of taking the victory.
Okay, makes sense. It's a possibility. That's true in recent times when it matters most. It has always Hit and Run that came ahead, but can they do it today? That's another question that needs answering. Map pick and bans, Himmels being removed, Ghost Down being removed for Hit and Mafia respectively, gives us Cliff as first one. Quick paced action will unfold on this one. We will then slow it down into Pilsen that comes after Cliff. So Cliff will be the big action. Pilsen will be the bit slower. Sand River being removed. Murovanka then gives us Ensk as third map between Hit and Run and Mafia. And I think those 2 are very good Ensk teams as well.
Exactly, and should we not have a winner after those 3 maps? If this one is going to go to Tiebreaker as well, then Westfield will be where we decide a victor. First of all, though, yeah, Cliff and, I mean, possibly Ensk. If it goes 4-0, then we won't even see Ensk, but I don't think it will. But yeah, Cliff and Ensk, 2 very, very quick maps. Only Pilsen with the possibility to kind of slow it down a bit. And yeah, then Westfield also very quick. It looks like both Hit and Mafia are out for some action today.
I am very, very interested in Cliff. I feel like it should be a Hit and Run map though, normally.
I mean, they picked it. So yeah, and in the past, Hit have very often picked Cliff kind of as their map where they want to immediately set the tone of the match. Like, hey, we are here, we are Hit and Run, and you cannot hide, kind of stuff like this. But then again, I keep reiterating on it. If there is a team in the OLS that loses their own map and then wins the opponent's, it is also a hit. So I think it's completely up in the air what we can expect here.
Although Cliff, I don't know. I'm curious to see, because Mafia, I associate them with a bit more slow-paced and control style nowadays, while Cliff in general does not really lend itself towards this type of gameplay. Control on Cliff is very hard to achieve.
Yeah, that being said, points for either of those teams are going to be pretty important today, and we have the predictions coming in. Both here and Moff going with a 4-3 Mafia victory. I am saying it's going to be hit, and Phil saying this one doesn't even require a tiebreaker. It's going to be hit in regular time. 4-2. Let's see about that one. But yeah, I think it outlines that in between casters, we are all very, very adamant about this being, anyone's match. And it seems like Hit have been to the kitchen. First of all, though, Mafia, triple BZ, 1 IS7, a CS, a TVP, and an RHM.
Yeah, that is something that they're playing against, though. 5 50Bs, a bat, and an EBR key hand.
Yeah, we were talking about the nerf to the support heavy tanks, T57 and 50B. Or they read the patch notes and then just decided to throw them out the window. Then again, the nerfs kind of more aimed towards the T57, although the change that support heavy tanks start with only 1 charge instead of 2 kind of does affect both tanks equally. Marcel with the TVP for Mafia is going to get split towards the south. Call me Piotr immediately, spotting him out, and does make it to safety before the TVP is reloaded as the 50Bs start driving in on that lower side. Piotr taking 1 shot for his troubles, and Marcel already starting to retreat. And Ducky, rightfully so, there is 3 50Bs chasing after him.
Can they catch Marcel is another question. They pop their abilities. He's starting to take a lot. Minus 1.6. He's now using the rock against 1 more shot taken. He will potentially live. I mean, Tisek is booking it towards that position. Will find 1 more. Drops him towards the 1 shot. And you know what that means, Kihan? He can get striked.
Indeed. Currently no strike up and available, though, as DJ and Franek start to clip out on towards the approach to the hill. The CS63 having the worst of it. Conrad down towards 1300, I believe. But there is another tank on the hill. That's a BZ75, which means that Monster in that bat shot cannot sustain staying up there. Already halfway dropped off, as Call Me Piotr is going to take the strike. And there is a 50B in A1, A2, making sure that TVP does not leave.
Barkis is a bit close to the corner. Could get pushed. He instantly gets tracked and he get retracked. No, it doesn't seem to be the case. He does make it around. That repair kit coming in handy. Always good to have one with you. Profoots not finding a shot either. And now it's Call Me Piotr hunting for that TVP. Probably doesn't even want to use the strike on that, to be honest. He does spot him out now. And I think he actually activated the strike after all. Goodbye, Marcel.
Yep, first blood for Hit and Run. It's going to be Call Me Piotr taking that first kill. However, Mafia are still on the cap, and to be honest, that TVP, after going down towards a 1 shot, was always going to die sooner or later anyway. But Hit and Run, they still have to do something, Ducky, and that is something that usually is very costly. They still have to repush the middle, and in 50Bs of all things, those tanks are so squishy. Starting to do it now, not spotted yet. This might actually somewhat work out. 23 seconds remaining on the cap, but the 50Bs are now very close, as Barkis is going to get focused out by the team of Hit and Run. The strike is going to go down. It's only going to connect on towards 1 person, and the cap gets held 7 versus 4.
Yeah, but Monster in the meantime climbing the hill behind these Mafia tanks will put that nail in the coffin, to be honest. They will find Yuzek. Even hill is cleared, and those 50Bs coming in for Hit and Run. They find initial success on the TVP, and then the repush on towards Barkis' position. You just see how quickly he explodes. Good stuff. Interesting cliff round, and it's gonna go Hit and Run's way.
Yeah, nice prepared strat by Hit and Run coming in here with the quintuple 50B of all things, and end up outplaying Mafia a little bit on strategy, if we're being perfectly honest here. 18 seconds on the cap remaining as well, so even if Kono manages to run in that RHM, it's all going to be over very soon. Kono now getting spotted, did get no reset, however, so Hit and Run are locking it in for their first victory of the match.
Good stuff there, capping it out as well. It was interesting with those 50Bs, and yeah, that TVP Kihan, he tries to run, but 50B is a very, very quick tank. If he was more than a one-shot, it would have been more annoying for hit and run to deal with, but even then I think Pilsen could push him and strike it, so it's the same story. And playing 6v7, you know, it kind of negates the fact that one team has the EBR and the others doesn't.
Yeah. And I mean, the EBR, after that, it just becomes such a big nuisance for the team of Mafia to deal with, because, well, you can try to shoot at him, but the kind of guns that Mafia had available as well, like BZ's IS-7, those don't really deal with an EBR on range well, because the BZ's shell velocity and also the gun handling kind of meh. You're not really guaranteed to hit that EBR over, let's say, 250, 300 meters. So, yeah, good first round. Not bad, I think, is the attribute that I would use for what Hit played here. Clearly also kind of going in towards their strat book a little bit. And, yeah, I mean, nice to see something like this working out. The damage spread also looking good. The final score at the end, really 7-0 as well. Yeah.
2.4 to 4.4. Yeah, I think Mafia got rolled there. Something they didn't expect. You know, you don't train against this very often.
Which is probably precisely why Hit and Run used something like this. I mean, both of them being Polish teams as well, it is natural to assume that they train against each other. So all the tactics that you use during training all immediately go out the window against your training opponent, right? Your sparring opponent. You need to surprise them. And that is exactly what Hit did. For Mafia, the lineup looking more conservative. And Hit just, you know, all-out aggression with those 50Bs, immediately getting the pickup, and from there on out, not missing a beat. Good stuff.
Now, I did say that I think Cliff should be Hit and Run's map, and that's kind of what I'm worried for Mafia, that they're going to come into this with a 2-0 deficit, because even here, you saw they tried to play some sort of a control key, and it just did not work against the strat from Hit and Run.
Mm-hmm. Phase 1 score coming in, though. We were talking about the teams here being evenly matched, and that held true in Phase 1 as well. There, though, Mafia with the better end, 3-2. So it did go to tiebreaker there as well. But maybe not today, because, I mean, 7-0, or rather 6-0 because the RHM survived, but they won regardless without, you know, dropping a tank. That is a statement.
Can they find another round, though? Because we're like praising Hit and Run into the heavens, but it was only one round, Kihan, you know? We gotta temper.
Yeah. I mean, those matches in between Hit and Mafia, also kind of a throwback towards what 7 times, you know? At the end of the day, like, teams fighting it out, and at the end of the day, the Polish team wins. So let's see which one is the better one today. Is it going to be Hit, or is it going to be Mafia? Hit with the better start to the match, but Mafia still have some time. Not in trouble quite yet.
No, not in trouble. Especially also because it's best of 7, right? So taking that into consideration, you know that even losing 2 is not the end of the world.
Game number 2 is upon us, and Mafia are indeed switching it up. A 50B, double BZ75, double CS63, a Foch B, and a light tank, T100 being picked by Kono.
In return, Hit and Run also bring their own T100, a 268, a BAT, an IS-7, a BZ, and double 50B, so quite similar approach here, especially with the T100 on either team.
Somewhat similar, but Mafia going a little bit heavier in the brawling single shooter lineup with double CS, double BZ, whereas Hit and Run, they have a bit more specialized tanks. I believe 268 is very specialized, the Batchat also, as actually the plane from Ketsai is better, spots out 5 tanks, whereas Kono only sees 2 or 3, so this means replane available for Ketsai, immediately uses that one to confirm some more tanks on the opposing lineup. Ketsai and Kono, both on the hill approach, are going to be avoiding each other for now, and Kono is going to make it up for free. Spots out Ketsai with the plane as well.
Ketzai takes one. He probably won't continue going up, but look at Hit and Run already pushing the lower side of the map with Triple Tank, 268 leading the charge. Orchek and Barkis now realize they have to face the music. The music is DJ exploding right now though. Can they find that 50B? I mean, he is falling back into a more safe position, and Barkis needs to commit here as well to help close out this kill. Orchek can't do it, but Barkis can, and now they did trade 1-for-1, but they somehow need to keep Barkis alive as well, which is not a possibility right now, as Tsek already coming off of reload. Hit and Run has not had enough just yet. They're now pushing over the middle as well, because they had to get away from the Mafia tanks, who find Piotr, who find Panzer Fury. Piotr's on fire as well. It does still happen, and Onslaught and Conrad should have Panzer Fury, so Mafia has a good position, Kihan, if they close out the kill against this IS-7 very quickly.
Indeed, Call Me Piotr finally stopped burning, but does get picked up in return, and this means that Hit and Run is now fighting from a backwards position. Only 4 tanks available. The autoloaders have arrived at the donuts. A strike goes down as well, so the HP somewhat equalized, but still, Mafia have the tank advantage.
They actually need to find Ketzai here. Yuzek is going over. I think he realizes that they need to find the T100. Is very smart about it. Ketzai has really nowhere to go. There was a CS coming around the hill, so he wanted to go back this side, but Yuzek already here to block him off. He's going to try and go forward, but Profuse is already waiting, will put him down in the grave. And now with the cab going, Tsek from behind gets spotted out as well. They have the top of the hill with Kono, and he carries all the HP though, but it's still a 5-on-3 nonetheless.
It is a 5-on-3, and Tsek with that 268 gets spotted out from the hill, takes the first shot of damage immediately, but once again, the repush from the donut, the 50B not spotted of Franek, Profuse completely getting caught unaware. Monster taking the brunt of the damage, but now Marcel very squishy in that CS63 is probably gonna get picked up by Monster in the bat chat, who drops to a one-shot as well, so all of a sudden, it is 3 versus 3. With arguably, possibly, the advantage on the team with the autoloaders. Never mind that, Franek taking another 2 big hits in his 50B.
This crossfire is annoying though, if you're Hit and Run. I mean, look at it. CS, BZ, 200, different angles coming out as well. Monster does find a shot on the bad shot, but you know, Yuzek is pulling back. Tsek is trying to push him. The plane comes out. They spot out Monster. Tsek will find an angle against Yuzek. Good shot there from Tsek. Very good. Now is coming off of reload. Monster might have the angle against Yuzek as well. He finds the kill there. Kono with a good shot on the back of that man though. Spots out Franek and Monster as well, giving Conrad the opportunity to close out the kill without... Ooh, he does take a shot of damage. Now Franek will have to go for this, I think. Will have to push this. And he could actually clip out Conrad. He does take a shot though. Conrad hits the shot. The strike coming out as well. Is that high enough ability? It is! And he picks it up. And now Kono in a 1v1. I do not see Kono lose these.
No, Kono also has the level 2 plane available, so he can always check where Tsek is. He doesn't even rush it. He can go for the information tower as well. Immediately uses it and replanes after, so now he has information available on towards Tsek, who guesses correctly as to where Kono was trying to come from, but now Kono on the top of the hill is just waiting for Tsek to make a mistake, which so far he isn't, but Tsek is playing blind. Finally the plane does run out, so Kono doesn't know anymore where Tsek is going to be coming from. Does spot out the other side of the hill though, and the mind games do continue in between Kono and Tsek. Kono probably afraid to get HE'd by the 268 as the two of them proxy each other, so it's going to be a little bit of a Mexican standoff, but normally the T100 should win it.
I mean, he has everything to play with, right? He has the information on top of the hill that he can take at some point. He has different angles. Low profile, Camo, spots out Tsek as well, finds the kill. That's Kono, playing for a little bit of extra prestige points, even though he doesn't need them. And yeah, good stuff from Mafia. Got a bit closer in the end, but it will be 1-1 going out of Cliff, which I think is good for them.
Yeah, it is very good for them. I think round number 1, it was kind of obvious that they got rolled and smoked. Round number 2, though, good answers to be found, and this aggression that Hit and Run had on the lower side, I mean, it found some success, but it left them extremely vulnerable on the top side of the map, which is kind of weird considering how much info Ketzai generated at the start of the game with his planes. So Piotr, and I'm not sure who else, I think It was Pan's Fury being committed so far in towards the middle, where they can get repushed that easily against tanks that you know are there, is an interesting decision to make. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, especially because they were killing the lower side key.
Yeah.
Like those tanks, I feel like they... I mean, normally they're forced on the hill, but... in this case, it was not good. They got caught, and you know, they lose 2 on the lower side, but they get 2 back in the middle, and they get a third one with Katsai, who's kind of like, you know, where do you want him to go? He can't really go anywhere anymore.
Yeah, that was good play as well by the CS of Mafia, just forcing the T100 in towards the BZs. That is, like, those are 2 bad options for the T100, right? Fighting the CS or fighting the BC-75s. At the end of the day, you are going to die in that light tank. So good play there. Good individual play by Mafia on that part as well. And this concludes Cliff, which is going to get split. So your fear of hit and run starting to run away with it is not going to come true. Instead, Mafia retaliate and effectively knock down this best of 7 towards a best of 5. It's like Cliff never happened.
Yeah, and Pilsen, I feel... I would almost pick Mafia on Pilsen. I feel like they are a good Pilsen team. It's just feeling based, you know? Like, I feel like they have the edge on Pilsen.
I would need to look it up, but I think in phase 1, they also fought on Pilsen, and their Mafia looked better. I might be off, though.
Mm-hmm.
Some time ago now, right? Like 3 weeks or something.
3 weeks is an eternity, key hand.
Mm-hmm.
The things that can change in 3 weeks, man.
So memory was half right for me. Production always coming in clutch. Pilsen was played in between the 2 of them, but it was actually hit winning those 2 rounds. So those were the only rounds that hit won against Mafia in phase 1.
Nice memory, Kian.
I mean, at least I got it right that they were playing on it. Right?
Nice. Nice. If I was your school teacher, I'd give you like a 2 out of 10 for effort.
You know, sometimes showing up is enough, you know.
Do you still apply that strategy every day when you go to work?
No, but I applied it sometimes in school, I'll be honest with you.
Disappointing.
I was doing better than other people with that,
yeah,
to be honest. They didn't even show up.
You're still one of those, like, hey, look, half the class failed. I only failed a little bit. It's not that bad.
I mean, sometimes failing less than others can be enough. First of all, though, both of the teams that are here right now playing probably don't want to fail on Pilsen, because getting a lot of points today might put them in prime position for the rest of the phase 2 as Mafia come in towards it with a singular 50B, double mouse, CS, double Forge B, and an EBR.
Versus hit and runs, 50B, double mouse, 705A, double E50M, and an EBR 105. Yeah, we don't see a lot of you see a lot of EBRs now on Pilsen. It's a trend.
Yeah, the RHM kind of falling out of fashion on that map, which is cool to see that different maps start evolving their own separate metas. I think this comes to show that you know, all the teams are getting a lot more familiar with the map pool that we do have in the AMD OLS. First of all, though, let's see how much information the EBRs are actually going to generate as Monster and Kono spot each other out. Conrad was considering going to the spotting tower, but upon getting spotted decides to do differently. Kono, though, taking 1, taking 2, taking 3 shots in total, make that a 4th one as well. And Pan's Fury to shut it down, hit and run, stun Mafia.
Yeah, Kono usually very, very good on those lights. Allows himself to get caught in this battle, gets picked up. That's the power of the E50M as well, Kihan, gotta say, with that ability. It becomes extremely accurate. Shutting down, hitting those wheels as well. And now Mafia, I don't entirely see the recovery either.
Yeah, this is probably, well, why they are putting all their eggs in one basket. They say that, well, Hit and Run now have the information advantage. This means that we need to do something while we still can, hoping to catch Hit off guard on this eastern part of the map. But you can see the team of Hit, they're scattering to the winds, not without taking some damage though. Pan's Fury down towards 1200. Ketsai getting caught on the rotation, minus 1200 as well. As now, those Foch Bs, they can they can't even reload at this point, but Orzhek doesn't want to stop. Pan's Fury is the target for that Foch. It seems to be locked in. Profuse as well with 2 more shots in the clip as well. Profuse is going to not be picking it up, but Marcel as well has fallen in that mouse on the offside.
I mean, look at the global situation. We're watching the field, but in the meantime, we've lost Marcel. We're losing Yuzek slowly but surely. And Konrad here chasing a monster, but Ketsai is there as well. And you see those double Foch B and a 50B. They're getting pushed by a 705A and a mouse. And Ketsai comes in with the ram. The strike will be enough. Monster picks it up in return. Barker's still running, but you can see Mafia is in real trouble, nonetheless.
Yeah, Mafia is in big trouble. Yuzek and DJ in a battle of elephants with those double mouses here, but Ketsai starting to clip out on towards Orzhek, that is still in the healing part of his ability, did not get to live, and now Barkis gets shot down. Hit and Run just snowball this out of control completely. Mafia pushed in towards a push they probably didn't want to do, but left with very few options after losing this EBR. Are going to have to concede this first round on their map pick. Hit and Run once again up a point. It's going to be 2-1.
2-1 for Hit and Run, who find initial success and never really let the battle go anymore. Kono, in general, a great light tank player. Rare mistake there, you could say, but also showing those E50s. Yeah, but the funny bun becomes a kind of a laser.
Absolutely. And I mean, against EBRs, you don't really need to shoot heat, so you get to use the APCR, which not only has great pen for a medium tank as well, but like the shell velocity on the E50M is absolutely crazy. So yeah, those E50Ms really demonstrating why they are a good pick against something like an EBR, for example, as long as you can keep the EBR spotted, that is, of course. But first of all, battle results, and yeah, Kono didn't have the best of games. To be frank, he had a pretty bad one, as you said. Rare mistake for a normally extremely strong EBR player. And I think Kono was also the one that made the live of Hit in phase 1 in the match against Mafia very annoying. So from Hit's perspective, it's very good to see that they're able to capitalize on those rare mistakes that Kono does and immediately win the round off the back of that.
But this game, Hit and Run did very well. They kept the pressure on, they saw the field, they started overrunning the heavies, and Mafia just didn't have the numbers to hold on where it was needed. Gives Hit and Run the 2-1 scoreline. It's looking rough for my prediction today, Kihan, but you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is indeed, and to be honest, we are maybe halfway into, maybe less than halfway even, in towards this best of 7, so anything could still happen. First of all, though, Pilsen 2, and I don't think Kono is going to be repeating a driving mistake like this, so going towards match point for Hit should be harder than this past round that essentially was a walk in the park.
But let's see what comes in the next one. It's one of those games, we saw a few of those between Darkside and the Cashback, where, you know, you play something initially and then you know, end up losing, right? Because of the point where you lose something early, which is what happened here for Mafia. They lost him early.
They lost him early and never recovered after that. But this maybe only serves as additional motivation for the 7 players of Mafia that together have shown great promise in the past. But to be honest, Mafia is that kind of that team that always felt like it was in the shadow of Hit. If you get what I'm saying, like never able to step out into the light and properly shine themselves. They got that one victory in, I believe it was OLC number 3. But other than that, it always felt like Hit were just half a level above, not even an entire one. But they've won already once this or last season. Let's see if they can repeat that. Mafia coming in with double mouse, double T57, one E50M, Forge-B, and an EBR.
Hit and run and return an RHM, double Forge-B, CS, D57, 758, and mouse. So EBR versus RHM now, Kihan.
Let's see if Ketsai will be able to outplay Kono, or if it is going to be the other way around. Tank for tank, or tank versus tank on Pilsen? Who would you give the advantage to? The RHM or the EBR? 4 tanks spotted, by the way, for Ketsai, so that's going to be a replane.
I mean, the EBR can be very powerful, though. It really depends. It's not super clear-cut. To be honest, in that scenario, it really depends on how it plays out. Kono can be an absolute menace in general, so it's like, it really could go either way. It kind of depends on the battle itself. Monster is going to push straight for the strike, which is very aggressive, and Hit and Run have done a good job on Pilsen about getting that strike control early on. They'll be taking 2 of them again.
Yeah, 2 strikes, but no cap pressure coming out from Mafia. Also, the first damage taken is on the side of Hit, with Piotr and Ketsai both taking 1 shot each. Conrad now on the overlook with the E50M is going to be able to control a lot, and Monster for now is going to hold on to the strike. I really like the touch of shooting on the cross as well. Not that he's really aiming to hit anyone, he just wanted to do a spotting check, and that one was negative, so he essentially eliminates one of those angles that the EBR could be in. Obviously, we know that Kono is on the 0 line, but all of this going on, we now see the double T57 engaging on towards Piotr, and they do find success. Down towards 90, down towards the grave. First blood, my goodness, for the side of Mafia.
They find really good success, though, and for very little even. If you look at the damage spread between them, the 57's taken some, but the mouse tanking the brunt of it. Conrad is getting pushed in the meantime by those tanks from Hit and Run, but they'll do the journey of trying to extend the life as long as possible. They're pushing on towards DJ in return with those 57s who are putting out their shots. They do connect most of them. Profuse needs to be careful. He's getting clipped out in return by the 57 from Hit and Run, but that's also the only tank that DJ has in cover, which means that he will fall. You see Conrad falling on the offside in return, which is expected. The little strike will come in to finish off DJ. No, actually it was on Yuzek. Yuzek will ram DJ, however. And now you see Keyhand by the EBR is so annoying.
Yeah, Kono is able to continuously evade the shots of Ketsai, and now even getting unspotted here as well. And while that light tank 1v1 is going on, that essentially removes the tank from the fight for either side, which means 5 versus 4 in the fighting tank department. And we can see that reflected a little bit in the HP as well, as Hit and Run currently in front there a tiny bit. And the reason that Marcel and Yuzek aren't really peeking is that from the outside there are shots coming in, and now coming in are Pans Fury and T-Sec with fully loaded Forge-B.
The 57s are currently not really covering this position, though. That's a big old strike, 1,200. Now those 57s start covering. The damage that you're seeing is coming from the back lines there. Profuse and Orchek covering those mouses. It took a little bit of time for them to adjust in position, but when they do, they will find position. Marcel will not be healed above a 1-shot just yet. Now he will, though, with the secondary heal. So those double mouses paying dividends, and now slowly but surely you can see the HP lead for Mafia extending.
Yeah, more tanks means more effective DPM. That being said, though, Monster was able to pick up one of the players of Mafia. This means equal tanks once again. And now Yuzek, the wall as some call him, does need to tank it out against double Forge-B and the CS Franik lurking as well. The CS63 of Monster is a possible one-shot, but now Pans Fury coming in to take the shot. Barkis is going to peek with a very, very healthy Forge-B on his own, but he doesn't have the shots right now to be able to retaliate. This means that Yuzek needs to retreat further, is not able to do so, gets picked up by Franik through the small little window of the destroyed factory, and now Orjek all of a sudden is playing against 3 on this angle.
Yeah, but look who's behind him. Kono finds the first kill already on towards Franik. That little EBR snook through the JK line, finds a kill. Barkis then finds another as well, and this will be the end for Hit and Run. It's either getting awfully close there, but Mafia will hold fast at the end. Kono finds another. The strike comes in as well. Orchek sees Ketsai Starts giving him a shot or two as well, while Barkus moves in to get Panther Fury, and it will be even Steven coming out of Pilsen.
Yeah, after Cliff, Pilsen does get split as well, 1-1. Kono, this time having the better end of the round for himself in the EBR. Ketsai with that RHM not really able to do that much. Kono, another HE. And for Ketsai, it just must feel so frustrating playing against that EBR in the RHM. I mean, yeah, now he does plane him and does put an HE in, but Kono has enough HP to tank that, is going to put the final shot in towards that RHM. And indeed, after 4 rounds, it's going to be 2-2.
2-2. Okay. Ensk coming up next. Best of 7 has passed. Best of 5 has passed as well. Good old best of 3, Kihan. My favorite. We should make all matches best of 3.
Why not best of 1 while we're at it? But yeah, Ensk is going to be our up-and-coming map. First of all, though, let's take a quick look at the post-battle results and see if anyone really did pop off. And as we can see, that was the case for Fronic, but not really able to carry his team. 6.4 damage, not enough.
Maybe next time he should do 7 or 8. He had a really good game for Fronic, but they did such a good number on Piotr in the beginning, Kihan. Picking him up. We saw how much Mafia struggled with a gun down, right? Similar story for Hit and Run, right?
Yeah, I mean, in 7 versus 7, if you're missing 1 gun, that is unsurprisingly a 7th of your team. But, like, jokes aside, going down a tank without being able to respond in Onslaught, it's very hard to recover.
Especially when it's an actual shooty tank, you know? Okay, there's points at which you'd rather lose a light tank first, and there's points at which you'd rather lose a shooty tank, like a 705A. I think this was one of those points where you would rather have lost a light tank.
I think in general you'd prefer not losing any tanks, although, yeah, that is kind of obvious. But yeah, both of the maps being split, this means we are on to Ensk, and we have seen Ensk earlier today. Ensk is an action-packed map, and I feel like on Ensk especially, even after having had it in like so many seasons and having watched so many different battles play out on it, I feel like teams find ways on how to keep surprising the enemy. Being it T57 traps, being it Foch B traps, being it super heavy together with maybe some American TDs with 375 APCR. So it's kind of cool to see that as the seasons evolve, so does the meta on different maps.
Different meta on Ensk. I mean, Hit and Run was going heavily back towards those American TDs mainly, where other teams were still playing T57 heavy, but that was before the update though.
Yeah, although as we can see today, the change to support heavies didn't really neuter them or anything like that. Like, yeah, it made them a little bit worse. Not maybe, but surely. But they are still a very, very viable choice. Although I think the amount of T57s that we saw on Ensk earlier today was kind of low, but that could also be a one-off, considering that, well, Hit played 5 50Bs in the first game today.
This is where Mafia breaks Hit and Run, Keyhand. Real and true. You watch.
Let's see. I mean, they could. As I said, before the match even started, I wouldn't put it past either team to win here, even in regular time. I think both of those teams are also one that can just take a match and run away with it at any point in time. So, Mafia winning 4-2 here is a possibility, but this at the same time, Hit winning 4-2 is a possibility, which I don't want to happen because then Phil would be correct. But then again, we are not able to really influence that. We can just watch and eat popcorn while it's ongoing.
I'm just kind of curious what we're going to see, but I don't expect too many things special. Mafia, IS4, Mouse, Foch B, Triple E4, and an RHM, so a little bit of spice.
And for Hit and Run, going very heavy in the autoloader department. Triple Foch B and a 50B, together with 121B, Mouse, and V4.
So all in all good here. The RHM really has to pay off in the beginning, though, in terms of information, and then after as well, because Hit and Run will obviously react instantly to the light tank info.
How many tanks is he going to spot with his plane, or is he going to use his plane at all? Yes, 3 tanks only though, so this means no replane available for Kono in his RHM. That also drives towards the artillery strike, so he is going to secure that one as well, and this means Hit and Run know what's up. They're fighting 7 against, let's say, 6.5 fighting tanks. They can force the issue when they want. They need to be careful though, and I think so far they are relying on their Force B trap to work, as Piotr puts a big one into Marcel, who retaliates, but damage reduction is a thing.
And Kono getting immediately blasted by these Force Bs, has a house to play behind. He will try to run away. Does he make it is the big question. Down towards a one shot, he will not. The rolling thunder of Hit and Run hits like a truck, going over what is available in front of them, which is what RHM. But Tisek feeling the hurt in return though. He will not heal back, as Profuse with that big old American gun will clap him back. And Hit and Run's Fushes Kihan have potentially gone too far. Conrad now coming in as well to shoot from behind, dropping Panzer Fury towards a one-shot monster. Still has enough shells to pick up this gun here, but can Mafia potentially do something with this?
Can Mafia do something is the question. Monster now does have spent the ability and is probably going to take a couple shots on the way out. Conrad turning is putting one in towards the back of the Foch B, but Monster most importantly stays alive. Never mind Profuse to pick it up, and all of a sudden it is just a frantic just a frantic chaos in between both of those teams, looking for the low HPs in this shootout. Conrad, the first to go down. Call me Piotr, still alive and kicking. Franek has spent the entirety of his clip. Ketsai getting pulled into the fray with that 1-1B, as now Orzhek is the one that is low, but no one seems to be close to pick it up.
I mean, they somehow need to kill Profuse. Instead, they're shooting the mouse, which is the least optimal target in this regard. One of the E4s will be able to kill him, though. But in return, you're gonna lose so much if you're Mafia to make this kill. I mean, Yuzek will probably kill him by himself at this point in time, but you're still losing so much to find the kill on a mouse, which is the tank that they want you to focus. Yuzek bouncing as well, and Katsai this whole time just DPMing it down. I think this is over. It's gonna be Hit and Run to pick up the match point.
Hit and Run are going to go to match point finally. Yuzek is able to kill DJ, but not that it really matters a terrible lot, as Yuzek now stands alone against 2, and Franek has reloaded entirely. Puts 1, 2, 3, and the perfect 4 shots in the clip for Katsai to pick it up. Hit and Run go to match point, and once again put themselves up a point in this best of 7.
Yeah. 3-2 for Hit and Run match point, and you see that one tank difference Kihan makes a whole world. No light tank, I mean, he just got rolled over. Kind of funny, but at the same time kind of sad.
Yeah, indeed. The RHM, I mean, reveals himself at the start, not by getting spotted, but by using the plane, which is kind of how it goes. And then on Ensk, like you could see that Hit and Run didn't want to, from the get-go, abandon the Foch B trap, but once they realized, like, hey, this light tank, he went to the strike, now he's on the spotting tower, we can kill him. And that is exactly what they did. Those triple Foch B is kind of getting used as a throwaway battering ram, if you want, but really buying enough time for the rest of the team to come into it. And coming into it, they did. I mean, call me Piotr 3.2, but then DJ 4.2 with crucial 490 bounce damage as well, enabling to stay alive. And then Franek and Katsai really carrying it with, what is that, 12k damage between them and 6 kills. Katsai especially outstanding.
I mean, he's just farming in a 1-1B. He never got focused out. You can see the biggest issue there. I mean, Kono doing 0, but you also lose Marcel on the outside. Those E4s almost turned into an IMO, but they were just unable to find a good target at some point. And then they started shooting at the mouse, and mouse is not the tank. If you have a 50B, a 1-1B, and a mouse to shoot at, you really want to avoid the mouse as much as possible. They were, however, not in a situation to do that, which is the worst case.
Yeah, I mean, the mouse is like going to take the 50B clip, take 1600 damage, and then the mouse is there like, yeah, now what? Like, all right, now you're reloading, and I'm still a single shooter dealing DPM. I mean, once you get into like triple or quadruple T57 or 50B territory, where you're really able to blast the mouse back to the garage and then reload, rinse, repeat, that's okay. But if there's only like a singular 50B or 40B, then the mouse just eats the damage and happily walks away after.
Yeah, that's why you just want to avoid the mouse if possible. That's why you always saw, like, in term, it's fun to be a mouse player on Ensk, to be honest. It's really fun for the simple reason that most of the time you are farming until the end game, you know, because if it's a brawl, nobody's shooting the mouse key. It might be your ideal tank. You just get to drive, shoot, drive a little bit more, shoot, and then whether your team loses or not, it's probably not up to you, but you can be like, look guys, I did 5k damage.
Yeah, I was not useless. But yeah, mouse on Ensk, beautiful tank. We saw it work in round number 1 on Ensk, but now comes round number 2, and that one is very important. It possibly holds a lot of points for the team of Mafia. Winning this would mean 4 points on the board. And for Hit, kind of with their backs against the wall, because losing here means Mafia winning, them not getting a lot of points while being on the same before the day. They want to avoid that at all costs. But first of all, Mafia looking for the knockout punch with double mouse, quadruple Foshby, and an E4.
Hit and run in return, mouse, CS63, double Fush B, 268, a 268 V4, and a WZTD. Now, what can Mafia do with those Fush Bs?
That is kind of the question. Both of those teams now with auto-loader TDs, but hit and run as well with those single shooters. And I think DJ with that 268 needs to be oh so careful, because that tank is very squishy. To say the least. Hit and run fanning out on the field immediately, looking for a lot of map control. Ketsai spotting out Barkiz and Kono in the Fosh Bs who are not reloaded yet. DJ with a swing and a crucial miss in his 268 as well. Didn't use the ability though. But yeah, the double Fosh B is going to set up shop behind the building here. Ketsai might start destroying that one with HE to get rid of a little bit of cover. But first of all, Piotr is facing off against Yuzek, and now also Profuse and Konrad, who are starting to move in with the Fosh Bs of their own. And now the plan of Mafia becomes apparent. Chop off that initial advance of Hit and Run before it gets too close. There is a lot of crossfire available, but that is a lot of firepower from Hit and Run driving Mafia's way.
Hit and Run trying to brute force Mafia here. Will it work is a big question. I don't think so right now. Konrad chasing down T-Sec, Panzer Fury rundown as well. And this is the power of the Fosh Bs. Those shells, they just keep on coming. It's like an endless stream of lead into the Hit and Run tanks, as they do find some success now on towards numerous targets of Mafia in return. They have also lost quite a bit. Piotr is about to go down as well, but now is the moment. This is where Hit and Run either makes or breaks this battle, because those Fosh Bs, they're on reload.
The Fosh B is on reload, but the problem for Hit is that they're currently not really finding a lot of success with finding kills. No low HPs available. Finally, Franek goes on a low HP himself, and Konrad with the healing ability, but DJ to pick it up. All of a sudden, the 268 with the machine gun coming out after killing immediately with a second shot, but now we can see the 268 very squishy, takes another shot by Marcel in the mouse and dies. So all of a sudden, it is 2 versus 3.
A strike coming out from Ketsai on towards Marcel. Monster will find the shot as well. You would assume he does. Drops him towards the one shot. Now Orchek hunting for Ketsai as well. Yuzek also trying to do that. Can they find the CS63? Ooh, big HE shell from Orchek. 1114. Ketsai's ears gotta be ringing from that one, as Orchek says hello and is now going to try and push him. And they know that Ketsai can't really escape, but Ketsai is just trying to draw it out as long as possible to give Monster time to come in, and Yuzek cutting off the other angle. Monster finds a good shot, but Orchek with level 3 ability. Ketsai with the track, but Orchek with the shot. He will take a lot of damage for this, and the issue right now, Kihan, is that Yuzek is kind of far away. The strike coming out as well. Orchek needs to find the kill here. He's actually going to wait for Yuzek. That's potentially a mistake. He does find the kill now, but Yuzek in a 1v1 soon. Can he shield Orchek? Can Orchek get behind? Can they get the team play out, the coordination? Orchek does not get behind that corner. Now it's a 1v1. WZTD with ability versus Yuzek, and I don't think this is as clear cut as one might think.
Yeah, no, Monster also with a very good tool in his hands. That is 395 heat pen in towards the mouse. Puts him on towards a 2-shot. The mouse with the bounce. The APCR from that German super heavy. Not with the best of pens. And the superstructure of the WZTD can actually be surprisingly sturdy. However, now Jusek has gotten to the side of that WZTD. Is doing a good job of bullying Monster, who once again activates his ability. Puts a big one in towards the mouse. Is on towards a 1-shot now himself. Both of them actually, but Monster should be reloading first in the WZTD. Jusek now trying to angle. Is Monster getting the shot? It doesn't seem like it, but Jusek with the flick of the wrist is going to drive it home. Mafia win in regular time, and this last battle a little bit of a clown fiesta. No, actually, yeah, it is 3-3. Never mind, I was completely wrong. Crazy, but tiebreaker, and so deserved. Oh my god.
I almost dropped an F-bomb. When Monster got on the side of the mouse, I was like, well. That was I think honestly believe that Monster threw. To be honest.
Yeah.
A WZTD with 395 millimeters of pen and an ability that reduces the damage received should kill a 3-shot mouse or a 4-shot mouse, like, always.
He should never be so close that the mouse can...
There's no reason that somehow Jusek should be able to stick Monster on the side. I mean, Monster did 9k, okay?
Yeah, but it still feels like he threw.
Yes. Both things can be true, guys. Like, literally, both things can be true.
That is the crazy thing.
Both things can be true. You can do 9k, right? And still make a mistake that costs your team. He did an incredible game. An amazing game. But he still allowed Jusek to come back in this one. And Jusek should not be allowed to do that, especially after he bounced. Also, Jusek and Orchek could have played it a bit better with the shielding.
That as well.
They should be Orchek reversing, not towards the corner, but just out in the open, and Jusek driving forward. But if they do that, they never lose that there.
Yeah. In the end, it still goes the way of Mafia, though. And this means we are indeed gonna go the distance. Cliff, Pilsen, and Ensk all get split 1-1, leaving us on a tiebreaker. Hit does have side pick, and Hit picks south.
Okay. Now, key hand.
Yeah, Ducky?
Who do you pick?
I mean, I said at the start, Hit is going to take it in tiebreaker for the 3, so I'm going to stick it.
Wait, did you say tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All of a sudden, the disappointment is really audible in your voice.
Yeah, well, I mean, I predicted Mafia as only one, so... But not tiebreaker, I think. I think I said 2-4.
I think you said tiebreaker. The only one that didn't go with tiebreaker was Phil.
I did! Actually, Moff also said... Yeah, Moff also went tiebreaker. So did External. Wow! No, but this is good, no? This is good.
Yeah.
About it, yeah.
This
could be great.
This is mighty fun.
Either you could tie with Phil, I guess, right? Or, because you're on 27, he's on 29. Or I could just get 2 ahead of Phil.
All of a sudden, he starts caring.
All of a sudden.
Starts of phase 2. Look at this smile.
I mean, you know, it's already been my prediction season.
Well, a lot on the line here, I guess, between Hit and Mafia. 3 points, to be exact, is what both of those want. And to be honest, with 3 points, they would be getting on 17. W has 16. So both of those with the possibility right now to overtake W, which were the first after...
That's what we mentioned at the beginning of the stream, though, as well. Like, at the same time, those positions could change so much.
Drastic.
In one play day. 2 play days also could just... Today, Cashback could lead. In the next play day, which is, I think, Saturday, right?
Saturday, yes.
It could be completely different. Again.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool, to be honest. We just have to hope that it continues. At least we as watchers, if you're on one of the teams, you probably don't want it. You probably want to take a big lead and just, you know, walk away and have a chill rest of the phase 2 and just completely focus and prepare for playoffs. But it's not entirely up to them. Instead, It is now up to Hit or Mafia. Whoever wins this game here on Westfield is going to be a second place for now in the season. That's already confirmed, I think.
I mean, Mafia is doing very, very well. They were my, when we submitted our predictions to Phil, they were my go-to. I think I predicted them to win the season.
Mafia? Or Hit?
Mafia.
Oof. I mean, kind of a dark horse pick, sort of.
Yeah,
but
they've been very,
not
very
entirely
good
out of
across the seasons.
Yeah, they were very good, but the issue I take with this is that they were never, like, outstanding, if you know what I mean. Which I guess kind of reflects in their placements, respectively, as well. But maybe this AMD OLS is their season. First of all, though, to make it comfortable for themselves, they would need to win this upcoming battle. And, I mean, Hit are definitely far from slouches. They're going to make it hard, and Hit had the side pick. So I would slightly maybe favor Hit in this upcoming TB.
Who do you actually feel like is going to win?
Hit.
Is your heart telling that or your prediction?
My prediction. Ooh. The kitchen is calling. Someone's been preparing some food, but let's see if it's burnt. First of all, Mafia coming in. Quadruple BZ75, a Bliska, a Foshby, and an EBR.
Hit and run in return, double AX, a Badger, triple Bliska, and an RHM keyhand. Double Inspire tank. Guide us through that.
Double Inspire, that means Perma Inspire available for this triple Bliska plus Badger combination. That is an absurd amount of DPM that's going to be Perma Inspired. However, good plane coming out of Ketsai does see 4 tanks. This means information is available and replane as well for the RHM.
Chrono pops his ability, tries to spot something, doesn't really get anything immediately, is going deeper as well, does get spotted out. He doesn't spot the RHM in return just yet. Ketsai now puts the plane. The BZ's from above, Profuse getting pushed from numerous angles. Yuzek Konrak pushing back in, but that's into a Badger already. How does Mafia actually engage here? They're just going straight on towards these Bliskavitzes, which is kind of the thing I think Hit and Run wanted as well. They're trying to split the forces, but Hit and Run's kind of split themselves already. Panzer Fury T-Sec one corner, Piotr on the other, Konrad is dead, and now it seems to be perfect scenario for Hit and Run. They get this initial engagement that they're looking for. Profuse with the Force B struggling as well, but now can Mafia do something? It doesn't look like it.
No, the Perma Inspire is also going to start kicking in. Meanwhile, the Centurions are going to fire from the backlines Ketsai to pick up the next kill. And remember, Mafia also have that EPR that doesn't have a terrible amount of DPM. Yuzek is the next one on the chopping block monster to pick it up, leaving only Marcel and Orzek in this shootout here. Orzek trying to book it out of there, is trying to get away from all of those tanks. But I don't think, Ducky, it's going to be happening at the end of the day. Hit and Run, they did cook with the strat, and this absurd amount of DPM between triple Bliska plus Badger that all are permanently inspired, but double medium is going to win the day and win the match and win me my prediction 4-3 for Hit.
Yeah, it's a weird repush there for Mafia with inferior tanks as well for this repush, right? Trying to push into Bliskavitzes. I mean, you can understand why, because I guess they were really afraid of losing Profuse, but at the same time, they were not even like together yet, you know. There was 2 tanks still at like B3. They started repushing with BZs. They tried to catch Hit and Run, but there was some tanks behind one corner, some tanks behind another corner, which leads you into this position of it's just a bad repush.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, turns out pushing with BZs in towards Inspired Bliskas and the Badger, not the best of idea, because the BZ also, it doesn't really have DPM. The Force Bs also kind of lose out against those Juggernaut TDs, because the Bliskas activate the damage reduction, and then the Force B clip kind of tends to be not as strong as it usually is. which all of it, I think, comes down to the fact that the EBR at the start of the battle got spotted out by the RHM, so good plane, and then never was in any position to provide information for his team. So essentially this busy push in towards the middle of the map, they didn't know what they were pushing into. They didn't know they were headed straight towards their own demise.
Yeah, it was just a battery push ammo. Pushing into Bliskas, maybe if they were all together, you know, like maybe if they were in a combined group of tanks that can all make the right push, then sure, but
yeah,
now it felt
just
like
feels like all the things, they were all going right for hit. They had one Centurion on the left, one Centurion on the right, so perfect crossfire. Perma-Inspire, they had the RHM to roam the map that wasn't really getting challenged in any way by the EBR. And then they had just this bulwark of TDs getting pushed up on. And against Bliskas and the Badger, you kind of need to flank them if you really want to stand a chance. But at that point, you can see the Centurions were able to just, you know, point and click.
I mean, Hit set up a great initial, and I think Mafia kind of realized that they were in trouble. They tried to do something, but you know, they weren't combined enough to do it. They needed all tanks to push.
Yeah, but they didn't have all tanks to push, and even if they push like combined with all tanks, I still think it might not even be enough, to be honest. Just because they're pushing into the tanks with the most DPM possible, that also have damage reduction on top of that, while you're getting focused out by those Centurions from the offside that are continuously providing DPM and Inspire. So I think it is just a very good case scenario for the side of Hit, where Mafia just, like opening by opening, just lose.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the only opportunity for them is if all four, all the BZs that were up are together, repushing together, and just running over a Bliska immediately without any of them dying, you know?
Very lucky scenario, though.
Yeah, they were so far away from each other. They tried to go help Perfuse, and it just gives the Bliskas more time, even the guy that dies first, to do more damage. They need to pick up something almost instantly to make that lack of DPM and Inspire work in their favor.
Yeah, you just saw the calendar, by the way, for the remainder of OLS today. There were or are still 5 tokens up for grabs. This Thursday, we are going to take a little break, but that is just because we have more content to come on the weekend, where we will also have the, I believe, OLF/OCS integrations, especially during the coming weekend as well. But first of all, the standings, and Hit are actually going to greet from the top because of the more match wins. This is why they are in front of Cashback, who are second, both of those on equal points though, but W and Mafia still very much in striking distance. Darkside, it's starting to look a little bit problematic for them, but remember there is still one match against Yogurt where the fate between those two is also still yet to be decided. I mean, they're not completely out of contention for playoffs yet, but as we outlined earlier, this spot number 5 is going to be contested a lot because there is a lot to win on it. For sure. That is, there's 2 battles right now. You know, 5 and 6 will probably remain its separate little thing. By the looks of things, it's we'll be able to tell a lot more next play day how it's going to shape up. Like if neither of them wins, for example, then you're starting to look at their separate group and then the top 4, where arguably you would like to be first. On the other side, possible scenario is as well Darkside and Yogurt end up picking more points like we saw Yogurt do today, and then it is kind of close again, right? It needs 1 win to get close for either towards Mafia and W, and then just 1 more, and all of a sudden Mafia or W might be looking at elimination. Yeah, for sure. It's like, so I said after next play they will be able to really tell into what kind of battles we're getting. Who drops, like, who of the top 4 drops the ball, and if Darkside and Yogurt are able to creep up. Yep. this is going to conclude all the matches for today, but as per usual, if you haven't been able to claim your drops yet, we'll raid Darky after, where you'll be able to continue with the drops. First of all, though, prize pool has crossed 55,500 euros. Thanks everyone that has been contributing so far. You're awesome. Thanks also if you plan to contribute in the future. The bundles will keep being available until, I believe, the Monday after the OLS ends. Monday morning, that is. The OLS supporter base and advanced bundles, that is. The team bundles, not available anymore, but the trio bundle is now up, where you're also similarly able to support the prize pool, and you can pick up the styles from the past seasons as well.
Yeah, especially this combination of styles is pretty nice. And the teams, well, the team that wins is going to be picking up 9 Ryzen 9800 X3Ds, which is also pretty nice when it comes to that, thanks to AMD.
Thanks, AMD.
But yeah, the next playday will be either one where a lot of decisions are made in terms of where the teams are likely to end, or where absolutely nothing is decided.
All right, this means as we are taking the Thursday off, at least this time, we are going to be back on Saturday. It's going to be at 2 p.m. UTC, that is 4 p.m. CEST. And with that, thank you very much for casting today. I think quite a lot of content, as we had 2 tiebreakers, only 1 quick match. And yeah, see you all on Saturday.
Hello, I'm Miriam.
Babylon, Smith speaking. We captured Ramfalte successfully, but it seems that we stirred up a hornet's nest. We're being chased by several dozen echo tanks.
Isn't science fascinating?
Moving to the extraction point. Babylon, do you copy? We're approaching. Open the portal. Now there's too many of them. Where's the portal? Babylon, do you copy?
Sign up to volunteer for Last Stand.
Seems that extraction is delayed. Okay, we'll wait. Keep on working, guys.
With scientific tools like these, no one will stand in the way of your research. No one.